Okay, hey guys, so we're back. So, we're probably gonna do a few more jumps. I think we're basically good on the show jumping jumps, at least like these kind of basic ones that aren't like super duper fancy stuff. Um, I'll probably eventually come back and do like super cool fancy jumps, especially once I start getting back into texturing and uh, I don't feel as intimidated by it anymore because I haven't textured much in ages. So, um, but yeah, so I don't know if we're gonna do um, a new file for things. What I'm kind of thinking is maybe I'll just keep a lot of the jump stuff in the same file. I might keep working with this file because I have a few other things I want to make that's not explicit to show jumping or English stuff, but I might just make it in here and then just scoot it over to a different file later. Because I kind of just want to make some fun little obstacles and stuff. And one of the things I wanted to make really quick, I think maybe we'll just use, use these ones for the water jumps. We use these kind of for general jumps. So I think I might use like the triple leg stand one to do it. But basically, let's duplicate you and scoot you out. One of the things I had on my list that I wanted to make was Crossrails, because we don't actually have Crossrails yet, technically speaking. Okay, so I want to grab everybody in this thing. Is it the whole group that's in there? So take you out of that one. There we go. Why is the triple oxer not in the triple oxer group? There we go. Or not group, but layer. Okay, so one of the ones I wanted to make was I wanted to do something with Crossrails. Let me see here. You guys can't see when I look up my references, unfortunately. Sorry. So for Crossrails, we could do like a short Crossrail. We could do a very tall Crossrail. I could do technically multiple Crossrails. I think I'll do a tall one. Oh, and I was going to do possibly a bar on the bottom. Like on the ground bottom. Basically what I'm kind of shooting for with this sort of stuff is mostly like this sense of like you could just kind of easily replace pieces in a way, you know, like okay, so that is something I might have to consider is if this is going to be bumping into that. But that's something I can think about later. Okay, so in terms of this sitting on the ground, don't necessarily need it like directly inside the ground, like just a little bit inside of it's probably fine. Yeah, something like that. So we have a ground rail, and then what we want to do then is, can I do this with both of them? Okay, they're gonna go in the same direction. Ooh, why is it, okay, hold on a second. Let's try doing that, and then twist it like this, and same thing here. Go for like the top part, and then turn it. Because I would like to try and keep these using the same rails. Maybe I should just set up one of these and just rename the other one, to be honest. Ooh. Can I, like, get you to recenter? Nope, not in the way I wanted you to. Let's try this. Like, what I'm looking for is this idea of trying to make it look like it's actually sitting on the cup. It's not gonna just float there, you know? Can I, like, scoot you up here, and maybe that'll be a little bit easier. Okay, so that is... Actually, that's probably just fine, because it is actually touching the ground. Okay, let's recenter the pivot on you. And then... What I might do is duplicate special. Let's do a copy instead of an instance, because that keeps messing things up on accident. Shoot. Okay, that's not giving me what I'm looking for. Is there 2 objects in here? There is. Okay. Let's try... Okay, none of these are... Oh, maybe I need to rotate. So basically what I wanted to do is this, but it's not rotating in the way I want it to. Probably because I messed up the axis on it. Or not axis. Well, that too, I guess, but the pivot. I messed up its pivot. Okay. No, I want you to try and align to that thing. And then... So if I want you to duplicate... Well, that kind of worked, but not quite. Oh, I just realized I was still on Deafen in Discord. Hi, Sarah.
Is she here?
I am here, I just forgot to undeafen myself when I started.
Good. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Anyways,
How are you? I haven't
hello.
seen you, like,
Yeah. I'm good. I'm trying to figure out how to get this thing to duplicate the way I want it to. It's not... I did something to this pivot and I don't know how I messed this up and it's driving me up a wall. Yeah, I don't know what I did here. I'm just gonna try and like force this to function the way I want it to and we'll just hope it works. But anyways, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. School is going okay.
Hey, that's good.
It's school.
It's schooling.
It's school is schooling.
Okay, let's see here. Are you getting a winning grade, son?
What?
Just trying to make a joke and it's really sad.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I keep accidentally duplicating this thing because I didn't realize I was hitting the wrong button.
Jesus.
Okay, there we go. I meant to hit D and I kept hitting G, and for anybody who doesn't know Maya, basically when you hit G, you keep duplicating the last action you did. So when I hit G, I'm accidentally doing duplicate special, which is not what I want. Okay. Let's scoot this down. No, I'm not auto-saving, thank you very much. Okay, so, oh yeah, I don't know what is up with the way that, oh my god, no, I keep hitting the wrong button. It keeps like messing with my pivot, and it's like, I don't really want to rebake my pivot, because I'm like, oh, but like, what if I mess up that too, but like, I just want this like slightly touching the ground. That's probably the goodest. That's probably going to be the best it gets. Okay. Sarah, are you... Yeah, best it gets. Sarah, are you looking at the stream?
No, I'm not, because I was about to get on Star Stable, and you know how my computer just loves doing multitasking.
Yeah, true.
I will just do the stream for a little bit. Like,
do you want me to stream on Discord instead, or is that still gonna kill it?
It might be a bit okay. I just don't know how much I'm gonna pay attention because
I think
I don't have multiple monitors.
That's fair.
Well, if I'm on Star, I mean, I could play it off my phone. I'm just not gonna hear what you're doing.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I have looked at getting something. So there's like apparently this monitor that you can plug into a laptop
Mm-hmm.
that like you can attach to the back and it like splits off into two. And I have looked at that because this is like, if I want to watch something while playing something, it can be a hassle.
It can be, yeah, frustrating.
Frustrating, even without my computer lagging the fuck out.
Yeah.
But apparently that thing is like hella expensive, and I'm like,
Ooh.
no, I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah.
But it looks good. That's a nice jump.
Yeah, I'm trying to make a Crossrails.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so I'm like,
imagining is kind of a headache.
yeah, well, it's just that, like, I don't know what I did to the pivots on these jumps, but, like, my pivots are all messed up. So, like, normally, like, it centers to the thing, right? But it's, like, it's been really weird where it's, like, I click on these things. Yeah, see, so, like, when I'm trying to edit this, like, moving it like this, it's fine. If I switch to scale, though, like, now suddenly it's scaling like this, and when I try to do rotate... like, this is fine. But if I try to rotate, it's rotating like this. Like, that doesn't... I don't want it to rotate like that! I don't feel like manually fixing it right now, so it's whatever. Okay, I think this one is a little bit lower than I want it to be, but also, like, I don't know how much I really want to try to micromanage getting this thing into, like, the exact position I want, because it can be such a nuisance. That's probably good enough. Okay. Yeah, so, like, what I was thinking was, like, I don't have a crossbar version yet, and I also don't really have anything that has, like, the bar on the ground, so if I'm just, like, making, like, default jump setups and stuff, like, I don't know if I'm gonna do certain, like, segments being set up individually. But I was figuring, like, you know, if I end up stacking all of these jumps on top of each other to make it so that, like, you can basically flip through the jumps and just change which ones you are using, then I'd probably want to have it so that, like, everything can line up together, and also, like, have it so that, like, you can use individual parts. So it's like, oh, okay, like, this would just be a standard top rail, and then this would be a, you know, ground rail, and you could technically just put this on the opposite side, too, you know? Like, you could just flip it around and put it on the opposite side. But I didn't have anything that was, like, already set up as Crossrails. So I was like, I was like, I might as well do it, you know? Now, one other thing I'm thinking is, do I want to make shorter Crossrails while I'm at it, since I'm already basically here, you know? Scoot you up. Maybe call it, like, jump 6 or something, I guess. And then... because it'd basically be... this would get lowered down, and then... the... oh my god, this pivot is driving me up a wall. What, can I, like, attach you to, like, this thing, and you'll be, like, normal for me? No. No, you're still not normal. Why would I think that? I don't know why it's all tilted. I'm sure I could find it if I looked it up. I don't feel like looking it up right now. Because I think... like, I could technically do something like this, though it might have to be... this is one small problem, though, because now it's like... it is bumping into the edge of this, so I guess I could, like, try to, like, pull it out like this? Because I don't really want to change the width of anything. I want to keep everything still in the same width. But yes, anyways, You had thoughts on Western horses in Star
Yeah.
Stable? I'm very
Yes.
curious. I should.
I would like to just go on the record that I am in no way an expert in what I'm about to talk
Yes.
about. I do have some experience in Western riding and with American quarter horses, or at least horses who are like part American quarter. I think there were a couple horses I rode that were like registered quarter horses, but like I couldn't say for certain what type. Probably like more of the sport type. I
Yeah.
am in no way an expert. This is just my own opinion based on my own observations, as well as like some quick Google searches.
Yes.
Sorry, I think you were about to say something, but I completely didn't hear it.
You're fine. I was just gonna say for like anybody who is watching, I'm putting the link in the chat for the video. It's just a discussion of like the Western horses in Star Stable. And obviously everybody's opinion is their own. I'm not saying this person's wrong in any way, but like also like both of us are interested in Western, have ridden Western at least at some point. For me it's been a while, a long while. But
Hey,
we
it's been a
have
long.
we have opinions TM on it.
I first want to say that like there are definitely some things I agree with, and
Yeah.
like, clearly the person talking about it like knows their stuff.
Yeah.
But I do have some thoughts, so
Thoughts.
we're just gonna run down it. First
Yeah.
off, I'm just gonna probably get the most uncontroversial one out of the way. When they were talking about the tack, I do think that that's more of an because they were saying the like, oh, the new saddles and stuff like they don't seem fitted properly. I could see what they were talking about, but at the same
Yeah.
time, you're taking into account that they're having to retrofit this tack.
Yeah.
Taking account that like these horses might not be to scale of what the character is, and now that we're able to like change at least limitedly our character's like body shape,
Mm-hmm.
it I would prefer that the tack look a little weird on the horse than the saddle clipping through my ass.
See,
That's
yeah, that was something I had a lot of thoughts on, was their like how they felt about the tack, because it's like I said, everybody has their own opinion, but like also I don't know, it's just like I don't know, it's like it's her video, so I can't say like you can't say your opinion, you know. But at the same time, it's just like also there is a lot more to it that I don't think she obviously understood, because like this video was released like 2 weeks ago. This is post, like she was talking about how like the quarter horses haven't been updated to the new tack, and it was like I understand, because like the average player isn't really going to think about these things, whereas me as like a 3D artist slash hobby game dev person is like
quarter horses were updated to the.
they're not.
saddles.
Nope. They have the new saddles. They do not have any of the other new tack. It's only the new.
Oh.
It's only the stuff that got updated to everybody.
Okay.
So
that's what I was really put off on.
yeah, yeah. No, I thought she was claiming that too, and then she's just like, that's the thing that bugged me, is she didn't even show what the saddle looked like on the quarter horse. She made it seem like the quarter horse can't even wear it, when in reality the quarter horse can wear.
I was like, why are you putting the old saddle
Yeah.
on the quarter horse?
Yeah.
That new saddle style was released with the quarter horse.
Yeah, I was like so confused why she didn't, like it's okay if you dislike it, if you feel like it looks bad, but it's just like, why would you not even showcase it to prove your point? You know, like that was something that confused the crap out of me, because I'm like, you're making it sound like the quarter horse can't even wear it because of the fact that you're basically implying that like the quarter horse can't wear any of the new tack, and somebody who's not really familiar with like how things were actually updated, they might think that the quarter horse can't even wear the Western saddle. They can't wear the new Western bridles and saddle blankets, the saddle pads. They can't wear those. They can't wear anything besides the stuff that's been updated to all Gen 3 horses.
Yeah.
So I would have appreciated if.
I was like, what
Yeah.
the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, because yeah. I mean, I have an old saddle on my quarter, to be honest, but that's like an aesthetic choice, because I specifically like that.
Choice.
Yeah.
I mean, I like some of the older saddles. I think they
Yeah.
look cute and stuff, and I'm kind of hoping that like some of those they at least update, at least color wise.
Mm-hmm.
Um.
Oh, I absolutely hope so.
So long as it doesn't look like, you know, something I got out of a trash bag. I don't it looks like on my horse.
Yeah.
You know? Like, so
yeah.
long as the thing isn't clipping through my horse in like a way that's really noticeable, because there are some tacks that it's like very noticeable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really care how it looks on the horse. Like, that was just my opinion, and that was probably like my like not my biggest complaint, but I was like, I think you're thinking a little too hard on this.
That's okay. So that was the other thing. I don't want to turn this into just a pure critique of what
No, like
yeah,
I'm not,
they said,
again,
but like
their opinion, and clearly they have some very passionate thoughts about it.
yeah, I do too.
I just found it just a little bit like weird that I don't
Yeah.
think they were taking into account like what
It's a video game for kids, honey. It's not that serious. Like, I know I take that stuff seriously, but like
I feel like you take it seriously from the video game point of view.
I take it seriously within reason, I want to say, which I know is easy to say, and, like, obviously, yeah. But it's, like, also at the same time, it's, like, as somebody who, like, does do research into that stuff, and obviously does the 3D myself, like, sure, I don't, like, have a 3D job. I work in screen print in reality, but, like, you can see I can do 3D. Now, my organics are another situation altogether.
We're still on the stuff that doesn't move.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like I still understand how 3D works, you know? So it's like yeah, it's like I understand where Star Stable's coming from. And it's like also I can also understand that like I may not know the exact history in terms of who made what and how they made it and how much they knew about it. But it's like I can also recognize, for example, that like when it comes to a breed like the Quarter Horse and Star Stable, it's like maybe somebody messed it up. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think somebody messed up the Frisians because they were trying way too hard to make it feel like the old ones.
As much as I kind of like them because they're quirky and stuff, please redo them.
Yeah, no.
Please redo them.
Well, it's just that's the thing is it's like doing those like kind of funny, quirky things would be great on a pony because like okay, like maybe this is a little mean, but like people don't care about ponies, you know? Like it's not
really, ponies unfortunately
I like the ponies. I like the ponies, but they're not my favorite breed. I like the chonk, the big
really
horses.
Like
yeah, the Welshes and the Gotlands are my favorite.
And the Gotlands. That might be a little biased on my part. What was the Gotlands and there was
the Dartmoors just came out, which like the Dartmoors are just taller Gotlands. I'm sorry, everybody, but they are. They're just taller Gotlands. I'm not.
I still love them.
Yeah. No, they're not bad horses. I'm never going to claim that. Like, Star Stable's newer horses are so good. They've been doing a really, really good job.
Say when it comes to, like, the Gotlands and the Welshies, I am a bit biased.
Yeah.
Because, A, I leased a half Welsh horse in the past, a half Welsh in the past, and I am, like, 100% convinced that one of the Gotlands was based off of my submission for like your SSO horse.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm biased, but I'm not ashamed.
I'm very biased.
I'm very biased.
But yeah, it's just like I guess just like kind of to go back to the Quarter Horse situation is it's like like out of like all the Gen 3s, the Quarter Horse came as like one of the earlier ones. And yeah. Like, not super early. Like, Quarter Horses were pre-Jorvik Wild, right? Yeah, because they don't have the mouth detail, right?
They don't have the mouth detail, and they were released with,
the Western saddles and stuff. Yeah, with Starshine.
They were released with those
so it's just, like, I mean, like I said, like, you're entitled to your opinion, but also at the same time, like, there are multiple layers to what you're, you know, criticizing, because it's, like... like, the way I see it is it's like, I own a Quarter Horse in-game. Not in real life. I rode them, but I don't own them. Quarter Horses are great horses. I mean, like, literally, I think most of the horses I learned how to ride on were Quarter Horses, except for the paint I rode on.
They were either Quarter
yeah. Well, I know Joe was. And I love Joe. He was, like, literally the best horse to learn how to ride on. For, like, the first time as a kid. But... yeah, like, the Quarter Horses, like, I have one of them. I don't want any others because, like, no, I can admit that, like, I don't find the constantly lowered head personally that attractive as a Western person, but also at the same time, I don't hate it. Like, it's not, it's kind of like you made a stylistic choice here. It was a risky one. I don't know if it really paid off well, but, like, it was a choice. It was a specific choice they made in an attempt to make a horse that feels explicitly this is a Western animal, you know?
Yeah.
And it's, like, I think for Star Stable, like, they had one of two options. They could have gone the way that, as the person in that video mentioned, with the paint horse and keep it very all-rounded, like literally every single breed in the game, which, if you want to stay safe, yes, that makes the most sense. Like, go with the thing that is going to be the, the easiest to, not attract, what's the word? Like, applies to everybody. Like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like,
I know what you mean. It's like it's the most
appeals. Yes, appeals. Go with the option that appeals to the most number of people, or in this case, kids. Besides those of us who are adults who play this fucking game. But yeah, it's like Star Stable made a choice, and it's the same thing with the Frisians, where it's like they made a choice with the Frisians in the sense of like, we want to do like something that's very stylized, something that really kind of goes back to old Star Stable. It didn't pay off well because that wasn't really what the player base wanted, and it wasn't executed that well either. And it's just like, I like, absolutely, Star Stable does deserve criticism for that stuff, but also at the same time, it's like, you do have to make sure that your criticism is colored correctly in the sense of like, understand, this is a children's game. It's never going to be realistic. First of all, there's freaking magical horses. It's never going to be realistic. However, Star Stable does take a lot of inspiration from real life. So it's like, yes, the horses should feel like the real life horses, just not to the extent of hyper realism,
Yeah,
and I think
and that's something,
I think that's where a lot of people are getting confused, because they look at these models in game and how they're animated and stuff, and it's like, besides the obvious really janky ones, or where somebody like just didn't really animate it correctly, it's usually fine, genuinely.
It's usually fine. I usually don't have any issue with the animation, especially knowing that they're not doing what other video games do.
Yeah.
And, like, actually like putting the dots on horses and riders and like getting that 3D model. They're kind of doing this, like, freehand.
No, they're not Red Dead.
They're not Red Dead.
They're not Red Dead.
Any modern day video game, like, of those companies that like have horse riding in it, they do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're doing this freehand, I find rather impressive.
Yes.
I have not had much of an issue with most of the animation.
Yeah.
There is somewhere, obviously, it needs to be fixed, but like...
Yeah. But also, like, give credit where credit's due. Star Stable has gone out of their way to, like, one, like, if you've ever seen any of their office tour videos, they have an entire wall dedicated to TAC. Like, they have resources for their employees to utilize in office. It's not just look up the best pictures you can. Some of that probably does happen, obviously.
They're actually starting to bring in, like,
real
life stuff.
They've had that TAC wall for a while. Like, I remember looking at that stuff back in 2017 or 18, man. So...
Yeah, I think it was around that. I think it was 18?
Yeah. I know I didn't really, like, I started playing in 2017, but I didn't get back into the game until, like, 2019, so it had to have been sometime around, like, after I started. And then the other thing is, like, now, this isn't true for every single breed, obviously, but certain breeds, they have gone out and they've done research on site for those breeds, like the Lipizzauners.
It also has to just do with how available it
is. Yes, and
like,
expenses.
I know for certain they went to take a tour of the Halflinger farm.
Halflingers and Lipizzauners.
Farm, or was that just a facility?
I don't remember. I'd have to look up the video. I think they did a video on it, right?
I know they did it on Instagram, but I don't know if they actually did a video.
Yeah.
I know it was on this story, but I can't remember if they actually, like, posted a reel of it.
But still, like, Star Stable has gone out of their way to do proper research in many instances. I'm not saying the quarter horse was properly researched, but they do deserve credit they do deserve credit that they have gone out of their way multiple times for that kind of stuff. Now, other situations, like the Ricket-looking horse with the Peacock Appaloosa, is kind of like you guys maybe should have done a bit more research.
Should have looked a little more into the controversy surrounding that one.
Yeah, so it's like, not just go with popular coats, but also at the same time, like, who knows how their management functions and how much research they do on those specific things. So it's like, there's ups and downs. Makes sense. That's just literally any industry, that's any company. They're going to have ups and downs in terms of how their management takes care of things, how the actual development and art production goes, etc., etc. Anyways, going back to the quarter horse, though, like, I don't hate it. And, like, I mean, honestly, like, yes, sometimes it is the butt of a joke because of its butt, because it is literally a dump truck ass of a horse, but that's that is, like, honestly, for me, as somebody who rides Western, who rode quarter horses, like, for me, as stupid as it looks, I like it. Like, it is iconic to the Star Stable quarter horse. And it's like, yeah, there's breeds that I just straight up don't like in the game, especially, like, a lot of the older models I hate. They aren't cute. They aren't, like, nostalgic for me. Like, I still keep, yeah.
I honestly don't care about them.
Like, I still keep my old model horses. I don't get rid of them. But, like, it's not something I'm gonna go out and ride around on. You know, it's not, like, I don't find enjoyment in seeing the old models personally. That's just me. I'm not gonna, like, I might, like, make a joke about that stuff and be like, oh, here comes the brick, you know, because it's funny and my friends know.
Like,
Yeah, but it's not like I'm gonna go walk up to the person and be like, how dare you ride this ugly ass horse? That's just mean. Yeah, like, that's just mean. I wouldn't do that. But yeah, like the quarter horses, like, for me personally, as somebody who rides rode Western, I need to get back into it. But still, like, as somebody who likes Western riding, and doesn't really do a lot of English, I can't speak on anything English properly, which is why I asked friends for advice on these jumps.
I know. I think I rode English twice in my life.
I rode it like once.
For like a day in total.
Yeah, no, I rode it like once, and I think it was like on that big thoroughbred draft cross.
You're not really riding, you're just...
No, I was terrified because I was like just a kid. I was like probably like 12, like maybe 13. But yeah, I was just like I was a tall kid too. I mean, like, you know, because like I'd probably been most of my like full height by then. Like probably at least by like, you know, like 13, 14, 15, I'd probably be my full height. So I was probably most of that way. You know, I was probably at least like 5'6" or so, you know. I'm 5'9" now. So I was probably like almost my full height by then.
Damn, you're taller than me.
Yeah.
You got a good few inches on me, actually.
And like this horse towered over me as a kid. I think he towered over my dad at the shoulders too. Like, he was freaking huge. I wish I had pictures of him. That would be a horse I'd love to see in Star Stable, is like just a giant thoroughbred draft cross. Like he was like Star Stable proportions. He was like the Percheron but bigger. I mean, like, obviously this is coming from my memory as a kid. So he probably wasn't that bad, but like, oh my god, he was huge.
Yeah, just kind of what I want to say about the quarter horse, because I found it interesting that she kept bringing up the fact that, like, oh, it's moving more like a reiner and stuff.
Yes.
Honestly, I'm not surprised that Star Stable did that.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna be honest, up until a few years ago, like, I knew there were like the reiner type horses. I knew there were the horses that were like bred for, you know, stock and for like like for like the timed events. Like, I knew that. I didn't realize that there's actually quarter horses who are bred specifically for like English style jumping, for like show jumping.
Oh yeah, I mean, the quarter horse is like very versatile, and it's not just
versatile. I just didn't realize that it's actually, like, I think because I was talking to someone about it, like someone I knew from back in the day, and it was like, hey, just found this out about these guys. Like, I've never encountered them before, because she's kind of in like the quarter horse circuit. This is like, oh yeah, I just refer to them as like not as dainty thoroughbreds, and I'm like, that makes sense.
Well, that's another. Yeah, like, that's another thing though, is because like the quarter horse has developed so much since the days of like when it was still a ranch horse, that like that's why like the actual like American Quarter Horse Association, it is so vast, and that's why there's like different groups, like the Foundation Quarter Horse that split off, because like I was actually talking to Sam about this, because I was like trying to figure out stuff with like conformation and whatnot, and obviously the quarter horse has been bred to hell and back. And I was telling him, like, I didn't even know about the Foundation Quarter Horse until they showed up at like a local horse thing here where I live. And like they had they showed up during like the breed showcase stuff that we have. And I was able to like hear about them and stuff, and like they were talking about how like basically the American Quarter Horse the American Quarter Horse Foundation, like the main quarter horse one, they accept a lot of thoroughbred blood in quarter horses, It's like just very open, basically, which is like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but that is something that they do. Like, they still add thoroughbred to the lineage, basically. Which obviously will breed like a leaner, faster horse, right? But it's going away from the stock horse and the whole like point of the quarter horse as a cow horse. Yeah. So like I got interested in like the foundation quarter horse stuff because I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like I didn't even know that there was like people dedicated to this kind of thing. And I've been finding out more about these kinds of things with like people who are like, yeah, we want to bring back like the old versions of certain breeds because like it has changed so drastically over the years. Now, I'm not going to say that the foundation quarter horse is better. I don't know anything about their like practices and stuff and how they function, but it is really fascinating to find out about like different variations of breeds, and the quarter horse obviously being such a multi-class breed, it's going to be used across a lot of things, you know.
It's interesting when you think about it because the more that they outbreed these quarter horses
Yeah.
to these more like hot-blooded horses, I only understand this part through my classes I've taken in like evolution and breeding and that kind of stuff. Eventually, they're going to deviate so far
Mm-hmm.
from like the quarter horses that it might become its own breed.
Yep.
Like it's not even going to be a type class anymore. It might become its own breed further down the line
Yep.
because it's going to have deviated so far from that quarter horse type.
Yeah. So like going back to like talking about the quarter horses in Star Stable,
Yeah.
like basically like I was saying with like Star Stable made a choice with the quarter horses. And it is like very much it is very much they envisioned a specific quarter horse they wanted in the game because this is going to be going out with the release of Starshine Ranch. And
Yeah.
we have to think about this as Star Stable is not a game that is trying to exemplify the exact standard of horses in real life. It is a game for little girls predominantly. Not saying that anybody else can't play it, but it is a predominantly geared towards little girls game with magical horses, fantasy elements, and just happens to also include a shitload of real life breeds that are being made with a specific style in mind. So when you look at the quarter horse, and this goes true for every single other breed in the game, they are going to be stylized. What happens when you stylize? You exaggerate! That is the point of stylization. And it drives me up a freaking wall when I hear people bitch about how realistic the horses are in Star Stable. There is a difference between, like, you know, making it feel like the horse, you know, versus, like, the people who are literally, like, fat phobic to the freaking lip is on her. So...
And something else I want to point out, because I think someone in the comments made a similar
Yeah.
remark, is that here's a... And this is kind of... I'm going to kind of spin this on my own. But, like,
Yeah.
there is a huge variety of a variation in... Even within the different types. Like, even within the different, like, types of American quarter horses.
Mhm.
And that I do not expect Star Stable to make every type.
Yeah. Exactly. That's not realistic.
Yeah. It makes sense that they would go with this more Rainer / stock type quarter horse because guarantee 9 out of 10 times if you just go up to someone and ask them to point at a quarter horse, they're gonna point at the one that's got the lower, like the more horizontal headset, like neckline,
or it's dressed in Western tack,
hindquarters kind of thing, because that is the quarter horse that most people see and think of. Like I said, I've ridden quarter horses mostly, and I didn't even realize there was a hunter type.
Yes. No, I didn't know about that either. I knew they were used for it.
Because halterbreds are the bane of existence.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about halterbreds. Keep those away from me.
Breeding those horses, it should be for meat only.
Oh my god, no, I don't even want the meat off of them.
Those things do not have a long lifespan as is.
No, they should not exist, period. That nobody should have done that to an animal. Nobody should have done that to an animal.
Listen, at least Star Stable didn't do what Breyer did a few years ago.
Oh, yeah, no. I remember that. Oh.
I remember showing that to my mom, and she's like, what kind of fucked up cow is that? And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that thing is the older Arnold Schwarzenegger of horses, and it doesn't in a negative way. It's just the steroid-driven way.
Oh my god.
Like, those things are terrible.
Yeah, no, literally. Okay, I've added the Crossrails. There we go. We got everything.
Yeah, it makes sense that because they released it with the ranch,
yes,
that they would go for that.
So, yeah, so that was what I was kind of going with in terms of talking about, like, Star Stable making a choice and the exaggeration. It's like, first of all, the reason why the horse looks the way it is. Now, I'm not saying that anybody's wrong about, like, the conformation looks off or something. Like, personally, I am not good with conformation. I've just been starting to learn it now that I'm, like, kind of trying to develop my own ideas for custom horse breeds. But, like, I'm never going to claim, at least not anytime soon, that I know exactly what good horse conformation is and be able to identify it on the spot. Quarter horses have very specific good conformation too. So it's like, who knows if, like, what kind of references they were using and, like, if they even gave two shits about it. Because, like, before I started looking into making my own breeds, I didn't give two shits about horse conformation, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, Star Stable's making one horse of each breed in terms of models. So it's like, you'd hope that they would, like, look up horse conformation and make sure that, like, the actual models they're creating do have good horse conformation. But also you have to consider that a lot of the people who work on that team, like, probably don't really care about horses. There's people who do, that's obvious, you know, like, there's people who have their own horses who do work as the artists on their team. But that doesn't mean every single person who has and ever will be and currently is does, you know? So it's like, you can't expect these people to care as much as you do. Just straight up, that's not realistic. Some of them may in the future, some of them may in the past, but you cannot expect that at all times. So it's like, with the release of the quarter horse, they obviously went with a very stylized horse, given the big dumpy butt, and the fact that the neck is down. That is a specific choice they made for a specific horse, and then, yes, like, I think it's valid to complain about them going specifically for a reiner if that's not what you personally want. But also at the same time, you do have to be able to recognize that them going for a reiner horse is not a bad choice or a wrong choice. It is a choice they made. It is a choice. Because it's like, that's the thing, is it's like, yes, the quarter horse is used for multiple things. And yes, a large number of horses in the game are, like, able to be, like, you know, in terms of their animations, the way that they look, etc., they are very well-rounded horses. That makes sense. It's the greatest wide appeal to all people who play the game. But when they released the quarter horse, they released a very specific Western area. The horse was intended to be a Western horse. And I'm going to be honest, I was really excited to see this horse with its head down and it looking like it was actually doing, like, Western, like, posture.
Yeah, that's why I have as many as I fucking do. Well,
yeah.
I fucking love their coats. But
yeah.
It's like the fact that they went as far as to give it that low set head,
yes,
kind of like that very stylized look. I was like, oh damn, I'm gonna take so many pictures of this thing.
Yep. And then the fast stop, the spin, everything in it was just it screamed Western. And it's like, yes, we could have gotten a quarter horse that was just a general horse like all the other ones that they've released so far that have lived at Starshine. But at the same time, they still made that choice. And you cannot, like, Star Stable's not going to give two shits about the quarter horse. They're from Sweden. They don't care. They're not going to care.
I mean, I'll be honest. If they decide to revamp the quarter horse, like, several years down the line, and they decide to go to, like, because I'm sure there's somewhere in Europe that breeds them.
Oh yeah, no.
Versatile horse.
No, but like.
But if they did go to one to actually, like, kind of narrow down its look a bit more, that would be great.
Yeah.
If they end up just deciding to clean it up a bit, I'm honestly not going to be all that caring of it.
Yeah.
Like,
honestly, like, realistically speaking, I think if Star Stable ever redid the quarter horse, if they saw them releasing it as such an explicitly Western creature, and it was just like, okay, players didn't like the low head, players didn't like XYZ, they're gonna look at it from, like, as a company, not individual artists, but as a company, they're gonna look at it from the marketing perspective of, players didn't like this, we're never doing it again. And then they're just gonna release they're gonna basically release the American Paint 2.0, you know, or 1.0, and then the American Paint is 2.0.
About when she said that, like, oh, they should have made it look more like the American Paint.
But then it would have just been another fucking Warmblood.
A reskin of the American Paint.
That was.
You would have complained that it didn't look different enough.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is it's like. it's like you literally cannot please people with that stuff because it's like they are literally just going to go, well, it's not unique. And it's like, what do you want? You can't have both. Because, like,
Listen. Yeah.
I think it's completely valid to be like, oh, well, they could have done a Raynor quarter, and then they could have done, like, a all-round, like, Jorvik quarter and stuff. And, like, I think that is a valid, like, I think that's completely valid to, like, suggest. The problem is it's not realistic, because she used the Jorvik Frisian as an example. The Jorvik Frisian was the Jorvik Frisian not because they wanted to do, you know, the Jorvik Frisian... I mean, not to say it wasn't completely, but, like, the predominant reason why the Jorvik Frisian exists is because they wanted to sell more coat colors than black. They realized that it didn't work out the first time. That is probably the main reason behind it, and anybody pretending otherwise is, like, sorely mistaken.
Because the second gen, when they did the second gen, of the Jorvik Frisian and the Jorviks, and the Frisian of the, I mean, I should say the Frisian and the Frisian Sport Horse, they were both, it was just a reskin.
Yeah.
It was just a reskin of the same horse with a different coat color. So they're like, fuck it, we'll just merge the two together into one breed.
Yeah.
That makes, honestly, from many aspects,
yes.
that makes complete sense, because you're just doing the same thing, you're just doing it once.
Yeah. Do Oxers usually have the bars at the same height?
Yes, because you have them, they're not like... Hold on, let me...
Oh, you know what? If I make like a quickie Oxer, it'd probably make more sense to do one with the cross rail, wouldn't it?
Probably.
So, like, what if I did... I know it sucks trying to look at this because everything's the same frickin' color, but, like...
Hold on. I got a fucking ad.
Rip. I'm still streaming on Discord.
Oh. Okay. Hold on. I was on Twitch.
No, that's fair. I mean, I appreciate you being on Twitch because I don't get a lot of viewers anyways.
Jade, I hate to break your heart, but I was the only watcher. I'm sorry.
You should stay on there so I'm still getting views.
Okay. My computer's gonna hate me.
Do it on your phone.
Okay. Yep. Just give me those views. I want to say typically yes. Oxer. Okay. The first one with the crossbars might be a little lower. But yeah.
Like, should I give it a taller crossbar?
I think the crossbar's fine where it is because you don't want the top bar too close to the crossbar.
Yeah. So this probably could work as like a quickie Oxer.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of what I was hoping for.
If you did it to where the top bar is too close to the crossbar, if they hit the top bar, chances are they're gonna just knock the whole damn thing over.
Yeah, or stumble through it.
Fucking merited points. I know jack shit about jumping though. So
yeah. What do you call it? A vertical, I think.
Yeah, the vertical.
The vertical. Okay, so yeah, it's an Oxer group with a vertical and a crossbar. There we go. Yeah, I just wanted to make like a quickie Oxer that like felt good, I guess. Maybe scoot these in a little closer so it's not so...
An age limit of 12 plus years old is too low.
Wait, what?
Oh, just because I'm downloading the app on my phone and it says rated age 12 and up, and I'm like, that seems...
Bare minimum it should be 13, and even then that's really low.
I would go more like 16.
Yeah, I would say like 15 or 16 would be preferable, and even then it's like, but yeah, anyways, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I guess just in defense of the quarter horse, it was a older Gen 3 model than literally all the other ones that it was compared to, which is not fair, in my opinion. And on top of that, it was a very stylistic choice that they made specifically to do a 1, Raynor quarter, 2, big dumpy butt, and 3, it's old. Like, what do you expect? It's older. It's not that old, but it's older, and it's just like being like, well, literally all the other Western horses are better. Yes, honey, they are better. We all can see that. But, like, don't shit on the quarter horse. God damn. You know, like... But yeah, no, like, the stuff with the paint being really good, absolutely 100% agreed with. The thing that kind of bugged me, though, was how she was talking about the tack, and, like, that is, again, like, what I was saying with, like,
Yeah, as we said,
it wasn't
there's a
very
lot more
clear.
layers to it.
Yeah, and it was also just, like, again, like, the whole time I was watching that video, it just reminded me of how, like, Sarah, you never heard me really complain in depth about the tack other than, like, the old models, right? Like, I think Star
Because
Stable's.
everyone complains about the old models.
Yeah, no, like everything. I mean, like honestly, some of it, like I didn't even know Star Stable had two different, like two or three different jump or not jump English saddle models because they had a dressage model and they had a jumping saddle model, and I didn't know that for like a long time. I think I found that out like 2020 or so, and I've been playing the game for like
Okay.
3 years, you know. So
Yeah.
like shock. Um, but yeah, no, it's like definitely uh like to each their own. Like if she feels like it was way too big and didn't fit the horse, that's fair. But like the other stuff, I was just like, okay, kind of like chill the hell out because, and I know that's funny coming from me because I'm never freaking chill about horse games, but um, but like it's just like
I love you.
yes, but like that's the one thing though for me is it's like as somebody who understands 3D, like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just it's like I understand the difficulties of those things, and the real problem with Star Stable's saddle models is they are trying to fit a saddle to over like 40, 50 different shapes of horses. You know?
Yeah.
Yes, a horse,
And
like, it's a horse, but like you gotta consider it needs to fit on everything from a pony to a warmblood to a big ass draft. You know? With minimal
and
changes.
that's the thing. I think a lot of people who do complain about the tack, because I have seen people complain about like, oh, the tack doesn't seem to be properly fitted
Yeah.
for. First off, it's a fucking virtual horse.
Oh my god.
It's not gonna give a shit.
No, like, okay,
Like,
really quick, it bothered me so much how she was like like as a 3D artist, it bothered me so much. Like this is just me being me, like not like trying to be a dick or anything, but like the fact that she's like the Western blanket, this is a Western blanket. It does not fit on a Western saddle. It does not fit with the new Western saddle. Honey, that's not the updated Western blanket. That is an old one. They're not going to purposely fit the old saddle to fit the old blanket if they're replacing it. That's just common sense. I mean, maybe it's not, but like to me it is, and it just bothered me so much.
I think it's people being very nitpicky about
Yes.
things that aren't all that serious.
Anyways, if you had more to say, continue. I just.
It's just funny when people complain about that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. In reality, yes, you have varying sizes of saddle.
Yes.
Both for the rider and for the horse. And the fact that people are complaining about a company not trying to fit the saddle to each varying horse size and each varying character size, because again, I think that's something that she was forgetting, is that we can now change the size of our character. It isn't like to a significant degree, I would actually say.
Yes.
Like there's a significant range in how large our character can be. And so I think the fact that she wasn't taking that into account,
because this did come out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It came out 2 weeks ago.
With the updated characters.
Yeah.
And so the fact that she didn't take that into account, that this saddle has to adequate this whole range, because they're not going to. I don't even know if they feasibly could make a saddle to fit each and every different size.
Not if you want it to be a proper fit, you know?
No. Because what? Then you would have to buy like what? 4 different saddles of the same type?
Well, it's like Star Stable already. The way that they handle like the interchangeability of different bridles and other parts of tack is already kind of ridiculous, which I'm not saying that in the sense of like Star Stable is like a bad game for doing it that way. I'm pretty sure a large part of that might just be because of the way that their engine functions and what they have already programmed in the game. But it's like you can literally buy the same bridle like 4 times over in the same color just to be able to have a version that is like no noseband, no headband, one that has a flash noseband, one that has a cavesson, Like, it's a little bit ridiculous, but also it's Star Stable. Like, you have to take it with a grain of salt because of the fact that it is an older game. How many axes
Honestly,
do
I've always
on
just
this?
been impressed with the variety that they had.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that they're putting that much into it, it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest, when they released, yeah, I was
Yeah,
happy
when they
that
started
they
releasing the new
released
shit.
Oh yeah, I'm like, can we? I am so excited. I'm not gonna lie, this might seem really stupid, but I
Yeah.
am so excited for the updated inventory because I have
Oh my
never
god,
played
no,
it.
same.
I'm like, please. I want all the new shiny stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I have no fucking room, and I'm not willing to sell any of the old stuff.
I wonder if they're gonna have it in place by the time the spring festival comes around, because we get so much new tack every time
I
a
feel
festival.
like they have no choice but to.
They really
I
have
feel like
to.
they have no choice but to.
And it
Because
would be
they're
the
going
perfect
to
time
release
to
at
implement it.
minimum 4 outfits. They're
Yeah.
gonna release at minimum 4 outfits.
Well, isn't it more like isn't it like 8 outfits at the spring festival alone? Because it's like you
I
have.
remember last year it was 4.
Was it 4?
Yeah.
Because they
You
had a
had the
shop
yellow
one. They had like multiple. It has to
I'd
be at
have
least
to
4.
check Cece's video. I'd have to check Cece's
Yeah.
video. But I remember there was the pink one, there was the yellow one, there was the purple one, and
Yeah.
then there was like the one with the black and white checker jacket.
Yeah, which I didn't like.
I remember there were those 4. Unless I'm mixing up some of those with the birthday. No.
No, I
those
think
were-
you're right.
I think I'm right. I think they only did 4. Christmas was fucking insane.
Christmas was so insane. No,
Like,
Christmas.
they kept just throwing
God.
shit at us, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I think I
Actually-
just managed to squeeze everything in. I like just managed. Now listen, if I wasn't anal about my organization and like trying to have everything in its own separate slots because otherwise I wouldn't be able to find everything, yeah, I could probably buy a bit more tack.
Yeah.
Like, it's starting to get a hot mess in my closet. And not in a good and not in like a sexy hot mess. I didn't think in this damn thing.
Yeah. Oh god. You know what? I just realized I think I overcomplicated
Oh,
this.
we're also getting like 3 new cross country outfits.
Oh.
Before the spring festival
Yeah.
even comes.
God.
So again, they're gonna have to give us.
Yo, I just want to be able to actually afford the stuff that came out with the Ardennes. Like, I want to just be able to afford that alone, man.
I know.
It's like, I'm so glad I focus on Western, because as much as it sucks that we get less stuff as Western riders, and they have gotten like so much better, so much better, because it used to be Western would get a bone thrown every like once a blue moon, you know?
Yeah, we might get like 2 new Western outfits a year.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like now they usually release at least.
Usually
They'll still release like 3 English outfits, but like 1 outfit will be Western. So it's still something. But no, I do appreciate that they've been actually like releasing a lot more Western stuff.
Oh, and we're getting 4. We're gonna get 4 new horses at the spring festival.
Oh my god.
We're getting 2 new.
Oh wait, no spoilers, because people might.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a video, so.
Fair enough. Do you want me to?
I already saw CC's stuff, so if people want to
okay.
watch it, they can go look for it themselves. But
am-
no direct spoilers.
I think you know which 2 I'm referring to when I say I am very interested what they're gonna do,
Mm-hmm.
because there's not a whole lot of variety they can do.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm like, are you just gonna go off the fucking rails? I kind of hope so.
There's a lot of fun stuff coming. Like, I'm really excited. But yeah, like, not too many spoilers just in case, because I don't know if anybody's gonna like miss the stream and maybe pull it up on YouTube or something. So.
Yeah, I apologize.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm trying to figure out how to do these cones. Cause like I kind of want to give it a beveled edge, but I don't want it to be like an extreme beveled edge. But yeah, I mean, I think that's about pretty much it with the like the stuff regarding like the Western video. It's just like, you know, to each their own in terms of opinions and preferences, but also it's like,
I'm more knowledgeable about this stuff than I am. I just
yeah.
For the casual player, which I think is like 90% of the game.
Most people are really casual. Not a lot of people are like that intense in regards to like making it realistic to real life, especially due to the like content of the game.
Because most of us can't fucking afford it.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm trying to do with this.
Yeah, I just found some of those takes to be like interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's just like I think it just kind of does go to show though how little people are aware of like the how things function because it's like I mean obviously like we had to make guesses as to why Star Stable was sometimes updating certain horses and then just not updating other ones and it just felt like they were being like lazy about it and then people were just picking whatever they wanted. Lo and behold, like I think Incognito on Tumblr said something about like yeah, we couldn't update things literally because it would break like the entire NPC and stuff. So like we can only update things as we get the actual retrofitting done. Which like
And it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
that makes sense, but it's also like okay, I'm not blaming like the artists or the devs or anything. This is probably more of a marketing thing, but it's like why did your company keep pushing out new types of tack? You should have just stopped, retrofitted, and then continued forward. You know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't care if it takes me longer to get the tack. I don't fucking want to deal with oh yeah, like this is like the brand new bridle and it works on like 2 horses. Like that's not what I play this game for. I don't want to only buy 2 freaking horses for like 50 fucking bridles, you know?
Yeah.
Also I think I figured this
like
out.
Getting a lot better at it, and I
Yes.
feel like
Well,
they are starting to pick up the speed on it.
yeah, well, I think they're starting to, like, I think, like, at least whoever's doing the management or whatever is, like, starting to respect the fact that, like, oh, yeah, this was a terrible idea. Let's not do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but, like, that was the other thing with the video. Huh?
Able to, like, release more tack and retrofit the other stuff at the same time more
Yeah.
efficiently.
Yeah.
Like, who knows?
Yeah.
I also think it's just, like, for me, it was more so an issue of, like, why didn't you just say this?
Yeah, it would be nice if we got more clear, like, explanation on these things, but also, like, Star Stable's a company, and they've gotten, like, they have to be so delicate in regards to how much they actually are transparent about, because, like, everybody's gonna criticize them, you know? Like, regardless of how they say it, they're still gonna get criticized. Even if they're, like, you know, even if it's, like, the most understandable thing, they're probably still gonna get shit for it.
Oh, for sure. Because, again, as we just saw, people
Yeah.
taking certain things too seriously in this game.
Yeah, literally.
And it's not me trying to, like, throw shade at anyone.
No.
It's just... I do think some people just need to take a breather and maybe go touch grass.
I'm just realizing now, maybe I should have made this a cone, or not a cone. I should have made this, I should have made this a little bit differently than what I did, but oh well. Whoopsie.
Live and learn.
I'll fix it. This is fine.
I didn't realize they've changed for collecting the plants. I also haven't played this in like
Yeah.
a week, so I don't. This is something that was.
Oh, it
week.
just happened this Wednesday.
Okay. So
it just happened yesterday.
In my head anymore is very new.
Yeah, everything's brand new. Like the collection animation is brand new, and yeah, and the way they spawn is new. They don't spawn in the same places anymore. It seems to be more randomized, which I like a lot.
I don't mind that actually.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, I need you to give me opinions. Does this look like a cone?
Hold on. Yeah. That looks like a pylon to me.
Pylon. Okay.
I mean, it seems a bit big, I'm gonna be honest.
Really? Well, I mean, like, yeah, in comparison to the jumps, it is.
In comparison to the jump, it's like half the size of
No, I'll size it down. Okay, and then, do bigger cones need bigger bases?
I wouldn't necessarily say so. I mean, the only ones I can think of are, like, traffic cones, but those things are ginormous.
Do you think... Well, I guess if I want to make...
Like, slightly bigger,
Oops.
but even then, probably not too much.
That.
I mean, I think if you made the shorter one a bit thinner...
Like...
It would be fine.
Like this?
Yeah, that looks good.
Like that?
Yeah, that looks good to me.
Okay.
I mean, again, I'm not an expert in this, so Lord knows I'm probably giving the inaccurate information.
I mean, that's fine. I just want something that looks vaguely okay.
That looks like a cone to me.
Like, I'm trying to, okay, so, like, I'm gonna send, like, the references I'm using. So, like, I want, like, little cones like this. And then, like, taller cones like this. Like, that's what I'm going for.
Okay. So, yeah, the bigger ones do seem to have, like, in terms of the circle, a slightly bigger base, but honestly, it doesn't seem to be that drastic.
No, it doesn't have to be, like, super accurate. I just wanted to make it look good.
Because also, the smaller ones have a more narrow, like, a wider top. Mostly.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for. Because it's like, I don't want it to just be, I don't want it to just be a sized down version of the big cone.
Right.
Like, I want it to make sense as to why...
I mean, to be fair, if you made it a sized down version of the big cone, I also don't think that would be, like, horrible.
Yeah.
Because, I just going back to what we were talking about, if someone's complaining about the fucking go touch grass.
That's true. I don't know. I just want it to look nice. I just think of, like, I think of the small cones, like, as, like, big chonky ones, and then, like, the tall ones.
Particularly chonky. Like, as someone who has, like, kicked them before, they're not particularly chonky.
Yeah. Well, okay, to be fair, though, if I do make it chonkier, it could work better if I ever use them like this.
Okay.
Which is, like, for either dressage or jumps.
I mean, possibly, yeah.
On the other hand, though, I was thinking about doing, oh, where is it? Oh, did I just close out of that on accident? Whoops.
I normally, when I see lettered items in...
It's, like...
It's usually, like, a sign. Like,
yeah. Where the hell is... No, those are flags. I do want to make flags, but that's not what I was looking for. Oh, you know what? It's probably under here. Where the hell? Wait. Am I blind? Oh, no, wait, no. It's under this. I just reorganized that, so I'm confusing myself. These things.
Yeah. Those. That's what I normally see.
Yeah. Okay, so I was thinking about going with, like, the square-ish ones.
Fair enough.
So it would be, like... Let me make a normal cube, and then basically take this in. And it would be kind of like this, but with, like, the little leggies. Little feetsies. You know?
Yeah.
So, like, maybe... So something like this, and then pretty much just take these faces off to make feetsies.
Okay.
Boom! Look at that. Because, like, if you turn off the this thing, it just looks like a cup. You know, like a square cup.
Yeah.
You know? But I like
mean, that looks pretty accurate.
Yeah. Okay, and then I am of the preference that I like having... I'm gonna try and see if I can get this to... Can I get this to work the way I want this to work, or is this gonna be the stupidest thing I've ever done? No? Okay, no, I think...
Is it want it to do, or is it gonna break?
Yeah, exactly. I think this is roughly what I want it to do. Okay. I just need to... I need to be smart. I need to be smart about this. How the hell am I gonna make this work? Yeah, I was gonna do cross-country jumps, but I wanted to get some opinions on what kind of cross-country jumps to do. So we're gonna hold off possibly on that. I don't know yet. I do still want to do cross country jumps, but I was like, you know what? It's gonna bug me if I don't get this stuff out of the way. Uh, so I kind of
I feel
just
like the basics, like the basic show jumping stuff, because with the cross
yeah.
country, you would go buck wild.
Yeah, like okay, so like I have a lot of stuff saved for the cross country, but like I uh I need to pick out which ones I actually want to model because it's like there's a lot of really fun stuff you can do with cross country, but like it gets really busy really fast. Like I could make so many cross country jumps. It's the same thing with like if I actually let myself start doing what do you call it? The if I let myself start doing like the proper show jumping jumps and not just like the kind of like backyard looking ones, those can start getting out of hand too because it's like you could just come up with so many like designs and it's like that's the fun part obviously, you know, like I mean I would love to have it where like maybe I sketch out some ideas and designs and then I model them in the same stream or the following stream. Like I think that would be really fun to do, but also at the same time it's like that is also a lot to do, you know. It's like I have to be like mindful of the fact that you know it's like a literal rabbit hole I'd be going down and I don't want to go and start making a bunch of shit and then it's like yes it is a lot of fun but like you know then it's like oh this won't work for any of the you know the show jumping or cross country courses I want to do. I mean it's more likely it could happen with the cross country because I do still want to do the cross country stuff anyways, but yeah we'll see about that.
That's
Oopsie.
definitely something that you should wait till you have the basics
Yeah, so
down
it's like
more.
yeah, it's like the show jumping ones I'm making, even if I don't make a game for them, like they are still like very nice basic jumps. And like you could use them in a bunch of things. Like for example, I could use them in like my sketching and stuff if I need to have like a reference for excuse me, if I need like a reference for how a jump is positioned and a horse is going over it, like I could download a horse rig or rig my own and then position the horse over it to give myself a better idea of how the perspective would work, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, hopefully I would use these in a game, obviously. But, like, the thing is, it's like, you know, if I don't use them in a game, I still have plenty of other ideas for how I want to use them. How the hell am I going to make this thing work? This looks so awkward. What am I doing with this thing?
Can I just kind of circling back because I meant to mention it earlier, but we kind of got off track.
Yes.
And now
Yes.
I remember it.
Yes.
Kind of just to piggyback on, you know, the criticisms of how the quarter horse.
The poor quarter horse. He doesn't deserve it.
It's not the first time. It's certainly not the last time that Star Stable has made a horse that comes in a variety of types, but they made it specific to one type because they did that with the Welsh.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
They did specify what class it is because
yeah.
Welshies can be very diverse in their types.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting that people seem to really piggyback on criticizing the Western, but not like the Welsh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe because they specified what type the Welsh was. But even the Arabian. Like, I think a lot of people would be surprised how much of a variety of Arabians can come in. Because you can have Polish Arabians, you can have Egyptian Arabians, you can have, I know there are others, I just can't remember them.
Yeah.
But, like, Arabians also come in quite a variety, but I guess because it looks like the classic Arabian type, people don't criticize it.
Yeah, and it's like, Arabians aren't something that are, like, I mean, you see a shitload of Arabians in America, but, like, it's not, like, the local horse either, you know?
Yeah.
And like I gotta say, I don't really pay that close attention to the stuff with ponies, not because I dislike ponies, but just it's not my personal interest. I'm more interested in the heavy horses. But the thing is, one thing I do believe I heard people complain about the old Welshies, not a lot, but I do think I heard people complaining about the old Welshies because of the fact that they just kind of didn't feel like any specific Welsh.
Right.
So it's not that it doesn't exist.
I remember hearing that too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, I don't think it's so much that it doesn't exist. I think it's just like it wasn't as common because again, you have to consider the Welsh horse, like the Welsh pony situation. Isn't that really only in England, you know?
No, because I was at when I was at the fair, when I was at the fall fair, they were doing pony showing, and you did have the different classes of Welsh.
Okay.
They did have the different classes.
I don't think I ever knew about Welsh ponies until, like, I found out about them through Star Stable, honestly.
I only knew about Welsh ponies existing because Tex was part Welsh. Like me. Well, my name is Welsh.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and apparently there's like how many fucking types of Arabian? There are 6 types of Arabian horses.
Damn, son.
We have Egyptian, Russian, Polish, Rabbit, Spanish, and Sagia.
Huh.
Chaga. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But yeah.
Probably. I know I pronounce everything wrong. I wonder if... I'm like trying to see if I can even this thing out. Because right now it feels a little funky, fresh. But yeah, I mean, realistically speaking, you're always gonna have people complain about that stuff. I mean, I bitch all the time about, like, Star Stable's, like, game design, even though, like, at best, I'm probably more of like an armchair philosopher sort of game designer.
I could just see you sitting in, like, a plush
Yes.
chair, like...
Quite literally.
With an unlit pipe just...
Yeah. Puffing away. Ho, ho, ho. I know about game design, even though I can barely code myself. No, I gotta get better practice. I haven't programmed in ages. I mean, like, I guess the last time I did programming stuff might have been, like, when I was working with, like, the pre-made stuff with the dragons, but, like, I didn't actually do programming, so I guess, like, really, if you want to talk about the last time I actually did programming, that would probably be with the first prototype I made, or, like, the first proper prototype I made of a horse game, because I did actually put menus in, but everything else was, like, just modeling and using, like, pre-existing Unity assets I owned. So, yeah, it wasn't like I was, it was not like I was doing full-on from-scratch game design. I have done, like the very basic, like, oh, here, make a camera, make a, whatchamacallit, make a, moving, you know, player model thingamajigger. I have done stuff like that before, though. Okay, I'm curious if I do this, if this is gonna work out in my favor or not. I'm basically trying to clean up the lines on this thing because I kind of messed it up big time. And I'm hoping maybe if I do it like this, this will just kind of connect things up a little bit nicer and neater. But yeah, no, like, I agree. Like, people complain about everything, and then it's like they'll focus on specific ones, and I do think the Western horses get, like, way more flack. Like, the Western stuff in general, I feel like it's, like, more flack than it deserves, because it's like, come on, like, we're already, like, you know, barely getting enough stuff anyways. Like, if there's anything you're gonna complain about the fact that, like, we have how many English saddles and 1 Western saddle and 2 Western bridles, but, like, we get, like, how many English saddles, you know, or not English saddles, but English bridles too. Like, even if you argue that, like, oh, technically the English bridles are, like, you know, this only, and it just happens to be broken down, it's like, still, like, you have the standard Cavison with, like, the dropping, like, headband. You have the drop nose band, so that's 2 updated bridles. And then you have all the medieval bridles, because a lot of those have bits, and only one of them is, like, a hackamore. So it's like, each of those even if you only break them down to like the ones that aren't duplicates, like having the horns versus no horns variant, like you're still having so many bridles that are arguably more English, you know? Um,
Yeah.
it's like I wouldn't count anything that's like from that's only like Jorvik Wilds. And I guess you'd count like the Hackamore or not Hackamores, the halters and like the Mawari bridles as like their own thing technically.
Yeah, they're their own thing.
Yeah, I mean the Mawari bridle does have a bit, but like
The Mori can only be worn by like
yeah, it's only worn by 2 horses, and it is very decorative, and like it's a lot more decorative than the medieval bridles are. The medieval bridles are decorative, but like you would still look at that and be like, yeah, I can ride that with an English horse, you know. It's not like standard, but it is still very like this associates with English.
Actually, technically, isn't there 3 because there's also the show halter? Although, can that be worn by other horses now?
So there's a show halter, but like that's what I meant by the halters. So there is the standard halter, there's the Mawari bridle, and then there are 2 different versions of the show bridle. There's the show bridle without tassels and the show bridle with tassels. The show bridle with tassels can only be worn by Arabians because of some stupid ass rule. I don't know why, because it's literally just with tassels. Like I get it makes it slightly more Arabian, but it's the same freaking model. It's the same model.
You want to get, speaking of Arabians, you want your head to explode even more. So we went over how there's 6 types
Yes.
of Arabians. There's also 5 strains.
Oh my god.
And strain refers specifically to the groups of horses that within the specific breed
Yeah.
that originate from a common ancestor.
Yes.
So technically there's like 11.
Jeez. Yeah, I'm not going that deep.
The bitch about the horses, bitch about the Arabians.
Yeah. I like it's like okay, so like I played around with the idea of having like my horse breeds have like variants. I may still do that in the future, but it's not something I'm worried about right now because it's just like that is getting way too deep into like something that is already highly customized as it is. Because it's like I'm going to do a separate stream where I talk about like each of the horse breeds and like I go into them and it'll probably have to be multiple streams. But like yeah, like I have 25 different custom horse breeds, not including non-horses, so like donkeys, mules, miniature horses, like zebras, I think I had a mountain donkey I was considering putting in as well.
Yes.
Because that would be cool. So like your standard donkey versus your mountain donkey. Fun fact, donkeys were like kind of were like horses in the sense of like on Earth they existed in multiple places, but they died out except for in certain locations, which I believe in our case was Africa, just like how horses were originally in North America and then died out.
Yeah.
I think it's neat.
Yeah, it is. It is honestly. I did watch, and I think I told you about it. It was a PBS show about horses and just how interesting it was that they actually went into like the history of horses, because at one point it was considered I believe it was Kazakhstan looking at the DNA of the horses that were found there, because Kazakhstan, if it's what I could probably pronounce it wrong, I don't actually think it's Kazakhstan, but it was like this location that it's been stated to be like the first incident of horse domestication. And what they were finding, and I don't mean domestication because to anyone listening, I don't mean domestication simply in that like, oh, this is where horses were first ridden. Domestication doesn't exactly mean that this animal was tamed. It more so means that humans had control of it. So in this case, they might have ridden them, but it seemed more so likely that they were being kept as a food source. So they had them in pens. They were
domestication, like domestication specifically is in the sense of like it doesn't matter how they're used. It could be for food, pack, riding, etc. But it is specifically humans have not just tamed these creatures, they have begun breeding them and adjusting their genetics based on selective breeding. That is domestication. Yeah. Okay, continue.
I think a lot of people, especially when it comes to horses and stuff, tend to get the two confused.
Yeah,
like domestication.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is when we first ridden them.
Yeah.
I would love to know what inspired the first people to decide to get on this thing and ride it.
Yeah, literally. Just imagine it was like, imagine they figured out how to like ferment berries or something and somebody jumps on a fucking horse because they're just drunk off their ass. It's like, oh yeah, Glug Glug accidentally left the berries out in, like, you know, the cave for too long and, you know, like, you know, freaking drank them.
So far, because horses are a prey animal.
Yeah.
The fact that these things don't kill us every time we get on its back, which is like the most like dangerous part, like the most like this is where it's gonna kill me part of the horse is just fucking mind-boggling.
Yes, yes.
But
Well,
I was gonna say this. I think they have found some signs that like these horses might have been ridden based on like teeth wear, but it might also
yeah.
just been from grazing and stuff. I think. I'd have to like re.
No, I remember like looking into that stuff because like I was like,
yeah.
It was, there was like a whole bunch of different things I was researching in regards to like how horse domestication occurred and then how riding began. And it's like it's crazy. Like horse bits are actually ancient because like there's like evidence of horse bits before we even had hot working of metal. So we had cold working of metal, which is basically like stuff like copper and gold and whatnot. That's like you can work at a very low temperature of heat. But we had metal bits, I believe, during the time that we were still working cold working metal before we started working with bronze and iron and all the other stuff, which is nuts.
Which is just fascinating.
Yeah, it's really fascinating because it's like okay, so like I pulled up my timeline really quick and like actually you know what, it might be easier if I actually show this off so people can see it. Sarah, you're gonna have to look at the stream if you want to see it though.
Okay.
Let me swap to the swap over to this one. Okay. So yeah, like I'm gonna go over this timeline also eventually because like I said, these I want to make these like world building streams too, but like it doesn't have to be world building streams every single time. Like I just want to work on stuff for fun, like do art and talk about things. So some streams might be more artsy, some of them might be more world building. Anyways, I just wanted to show this off really quick. So this part here is the Stone Age.
Oh, okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to. Are you just popping this up on the Twitch stream?
Yeah, I'm popping up on the Twitch stream, but like I can throw the.
Okay. I have that going too.
Okay. Anyways, yeah. So this is occurring in the Stone Age here. Hopefully you guys can see my cursor. Yeah, this is the Stone Age. So you can actually see the different sections here. So like Paleolithic is this first part. This is when like, you know, we had like horses develop and stuff. Humans go into the hunter-gatherer and stuff. I actually been reworking this timeline. So this is slightly outdated. But then you go into Mesolithic. What?
I'm looking at this timeline. You scare me.
I know, I scare you. I'm very good at that. And then we got Neolithic. Yeah, I did actually redevelop the way that the Stone Age worked. All of this stuff, the PC means pre-cataclysm because that's specific to my world. So basically, Stone Age ends 5,000 years before the cataclysm occurs. And then if you look here, you can see that, going back a little bit, we get the first signs of domestication during the Mesolithic era. Again, like, I did adjust a lot of these things, so, like, this is just, like, going off of my old timeline. I'm gonna do, like, a proper hash eventually someday of the updated timeline. And then first horses were tamed. I was, like, figuring probably the northeastern nomads, probably wild mares. The northwestern nomads tamed their first horses, etc., etc. And then you can see here the earliest signs of actual horse domestication occurs. So it's like they did tame horses, but like you don't really get domestication until like way later. And this doesn't mean that it didn't happen before this time. This is the first signs that we have. And this was for food and pack. A large amount of this stuff, the initial versions of these was based off of real life history, which then was kind of filtered through until I figured out things that I liked for my specific history. So again, this is like the last iteration of this before I made another adjustment. So there's a lot of changes that have occurred, and I end up having to break the timeline down based on different types of history. So like cultures versus general history versus equine history. So it's a lot more in depth now, which I know is even scarier, but it'll be okay. But yeah, earliest beginning of metallurgy. So this is cold working. And then earliest signs of horse domestication, the wheel's invented, the first chariots are made, and then the northern horses are used for riding. First signs of bits, the horse herds end up dispersing. So if you look at my map here, basically horses were all across this northern area, predominantly in these like yellowy orangey areas, not in the red. The red is desert. So horses were in like this whole area. None of them really came down here because there's a big fat jungle in the way. And eventually there was like several herds that got hunted to the point where they started dispersing, and they came down here and down into the south part, which is how horses came down here. So yeah, basically that happened, and then nomads followed them. And then the first horse, the Oriental ancestor, which is basically the precursor to what would become the Arabian in my stuff, was bred. And they can trace it all the way back to the bones that very closely, like the bones and the genetic data, closely mimics the modern day variant of what is an Arabian in my world. Because I literally couldn't have I couldn't do horses inspired by real life, like based off of real life history, without some sort of Arabian.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
What's interesting about the horse bones that were found at this location is that they did do genetic testing to see if these horses are the precursor to modern horses, and they're not.
Yeah.
So this specific type of horse died out, and then we re-tamed another type.
Yeah.
It's just and this horse actually also I don't think is related to the the fucking
it's like Perswaltzy or some Perswaltz. I don't know how to actually say it.
It's the only true wild horses.
Yes.
And I believe that
also
not related to those. So this was a completely different variant that died out, and then it seems we retrained horses because we decided we liked it so much.
Yeah, because it's there's still a bunch of different, there was a bunch of different variations of horses, just like how humans and Neanderthals existed at the same time, and then eventually most of those end up dying out. So the Przewalski horse is technically a true wild horse due to the fact that it was never domesticated, which means that it never, wild horses we have today besides this are actually just feral horses. All of the wild horses in North America, for example, they're just feral horses because they came from the Spanish horses. They end up spreading out, interbreeding, etc. But they were still domesticated horses, and they went feral. They are wild, but they're feral wild.
Well, it's interesting because they are descended from human domesticated horses. They do have that. They can be trained.
Yes.
They can be retained, and honestly, fairly easy. I'm pretty sure you cannot do the same with a Przewalski horse because it looks at you like you're a threat.
Yeah.
They don't have, because I think that's something that, again, a lot of people don't.
It's literally in their genetics, or rather lack of it.
Is that horses have been genetically altered through breeding and stuff to, they can be nervous around humans for certain, but there's still a part of them that doesn't see us in the same way that they see a predator.
Yeah.
Like, they are wired different. And it's so fascinating. It's so fascinating.
I love
talking about it.
Why is this on multiple layers? Yeah, no, I did so much research trying to understand, how horse domestication occurred. It's actually, Sarah, I don't know if I shared this with you. I might need to send you this. But I found a actual, map, or series of maps, rather, that kind of shows how horse coat colors came to be. And it's really...
Please send that to me, please.
It's really cool. It's really cool. Yeah. So, I believe... Did I get this off of Wikipedia, or was it off of something else? Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I did find it on my computer, but where I actually found it. Because I can send it in the chat if anybody else is interested.
See, because, again, that is something, when it comes to that genetics and stuff, that is just something I find so fascinating.
Yeah.
I did watch, because when I attended BriarFest online this year, I did attend a seminar where someone did talk about the genetics of horse coats, And it was just so fascinating when they showed not even like within the past 200 years how drastically horse coats have changed.
Yeah.
Like if you look at horses such as the Frisian, the Lipizzaner, the Lusitanos, like horses like that have like very restricted horse coats. Back in the day, it was all the rage to have the flashiest looking thing.
Yes.
And I have a Breyer model Adonis who is a, I want to say he's a Lusitano. Hold on, I have to look up what he is again.
But yeah, I mean, like, while you're looking that up, like, basically, it's really cool because, like, pretty much horses developing markings and stuff was obviously a random mutation. It still is, like, it's very random. Like you see like you see Frisians and stuff where they're like, oh yeah, we got to breed out like the color on this horse except for black, and you can't have anything more than a tiny snip on the nose, and yada yada. It's like, yeah, there are genetics that obviously control that. It's not complete randomization, but at the same time, it's like white markings are relatively random, I believe, in terms of how they function. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, white markings were something that got bred into so many animals because of the fact that humans found them attractive and found it as a way of telling their animals apart. That's why they have them. It's the same thing you see with like how wolves adapted from being like, all these like basic colors and patterns to literally every single breed of dog that we see today. Mm-hmm. It's humans just going, I like that one. Let's make more of it.
Well, it initially started with breeding more so for physical characteristics.
Yeah.
Because if you needed a dog to be better at tracking,
yes,
if you needed a dog to be better at guarding your livestock, it was more so that. And as this became more popular and stuff, that's when you started to breed. And I think it's a much more modern thing nowadays to breed for certain colors.
It is 100% because you don't need a working animal.
With unfortunately detrimental to the breed because everyone wants a fucking Merle dog. Merle doesn't exist in that dog breed, so they cross.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's a fucking mess. And back to the Frisians and them wanting purely black. I think there are 14 registered chestnut Frisians.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very low number, but unfortunately,
it's sad.
Fully black. They are inbred as fuck.
Yeah, I really wish we had more.
They need to fix it.
They do. I wish we had more chestnut Frisians. Like that's why for like okay, so like obviously I'm not trying to completely remake the wheel on my horse breeds. A lot of them are based off of real life breeds, just with my own unique spin on it, because it's like, I don't really want to remake the wheel. Like, I like the horse breeds out there. I just want them to have, like, history within my world, So, yes, I do have a Frisian-based breed. Like, I don't know if I'm going to make it identical to Frisians. Like, that is the one thing I would like to do is, like, I would like to take popular breeds and, work them in a way that's like, hey, this is still, like, a fun twist on, this well-known, animal. But yeah, it's like I don't want to I don't want to just be like, these are Arabians, but they're just called sun racers. It's like I want them to feel like, yes, it was inspired by the Arabian, but I still want them to feel like their own breed, And yes, they are literally called sun racers.
I love that.
Yeah. It's like, I hope it's not something that people are going to find offensive, because it's just like, I mean, it's not a finalized, forewarning, that is not the finalized name. It's just my nickname for it. Like, I have no finalized names for any of these freaking animals. Like, I am just trying to come up with a name that I'm going to remember. Oh, yeah, the Arabian was called Sunracer. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's literally the whole purpose of it.
But just going back to the Breyer, so he's a Lipizzaner.
Yeah.
He's actually based off of a painting from, not gonna say it, but it's like a few hundred years old.
Oh, really?
At the very least. And it's of, like, Lipizzaners back in that day. And it's this beautiful, like, buckskin Appaloosa.
Yeah.
Because that's what was attractive back in the day, were these flashy colors and stuff. And I do not quote me on this, but I feel like the Frisian, especially the, like, the predominantly black coat, was more so due to militarization
Probably.
Because they wanted a more uniform color. I could be wrong, but given the timeline, I feel like that's what happened.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Hey, do you think these jump markers would be about the size of, like, the small cone?
Probably you might maybe make them a little bit taller just to make sure you can fit the letter in correctly.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't be much taller than
So, like, about here.
Yeah.
That's not what I meant to do.
Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. Because you want to be able to fit the letter in without, like, it crunched up.
Well, it's okay. So, like, I mean, we have the jumps right here. So, like, if in comparison to the jump, it's like you had, like, you know, like, say you had a couple of these next to the jump, and it's like, this is jump 1A, this is jump, you know,
yeah,
1B.
It shouldn't be much taller than the bottom of
Yeah.
the baseboard.
Yeah, like the bottom rail.
Because you want it to still be visible to the rider, but you don't want it to just...
Yeah, I think that's a good size. I don't know if I'll ever use a small cone. I just want to make one because it's cute.
You can make it a hat.
I could.
You could go put them on it's over there.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? You're right. Hold on. Let's give QB a hat. I gotta update QB again. He deserves more details. There we go.
Deserves a little love.
Deserves a little love. Anyways, did you have more you were gonna say?
No, that was basically it.
Yeah.
It's just it's so fascinating learning about the development of coat colors and how drastically they've changed over the years. And personally, I really hope that we make a return to those styles, like giving these horses more flashy coats, because
yes.
A, it would probably solve a lot of the inbreeding problems.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my god. But I just
God.
they're so nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, the thing is, like, for me, is like, not that I hate bays, but I'm so sick of seeing the same fucking colors. You know, it's like, it's like, I get it. Like, for example, thoroughbreds are bred for speed, not their appearance, but like, come on, man. You know? Make it a little more, make it a little more interesting, you know? Oh, okay, so, Sarah, I got a question for you, though. What style of flag, out of these ones I'm about to send you, do you think looks best?
Come on.
And it's in the Discord stream chat.
Yeah, okay, I see it. And this is for the jumps, correct?
This is for, like, jumps, both for show jumping jumps as well as cross-country jumps. I want to use the same marker on both of them.
Okay.
Star Stable has, like, a very unique one, and I don't want to just do what Star Stable has, you know, like...
I feel like I don't like the Rustly flag one.
No, I don't either. It was more just like, do you think the square looks okay, or should it be pointy?
I like the point, because I feel like that would be a much better indicator for what way they should go.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the square one just reminds me of the golf flag.
I mean, yeah, it does. Okay, so should I go with, like, a triangle, or should I go with the double point? I did the double point on my old models, but, like, I don't really mind either way. I could do both.
See, I like the triangle just because it's a post, and you don't have to, like... It looks like the other one, you have to, like, actually screw into the jump, which I don't think looks as... Yeah, I like that. Okay, so that's how they do it.
Yeah. Well, these are just cross-country ones. I did find some photos of jumps.
See, I feel, to me,
these ones are really hard to see because it was, you know, a freaking GoPro video, but it's the 2-point ones.
See, I feel like with the 2-point ones, you could have a lot of fun with the designs.
Yeah.
Please do.
Unrelated image.
Please.
I kind of do. Okay, so basically what I just sent Sarah, for anybody who's wondering, it's a statue, like a black statue of a guy on a horse, you know, your kind of standard admiral, or not admiral, but, you know, like captain looking dude.
some military.
Yeah, some military guy on a horse. And he looks very regal, except for the fact that he has a big fat safety cone on his head, and that makes him look really funny.
It looks great.
Yeah, I want to do like a fancy statue someday for my horse games, but I don't know what it would be because I don't have lore for that yet. It has to be lore friendly, man.
Absolutely. I feel like with the double pointed ones, you can have a lot of fun with the designs and like patterns and stuff. You might be a bit more constricted with the arrows, but I do like how the arrows look.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm torn. I think you could use the arrows to indicate like which direction riders should go, and use the pointed ones, like the other ones, to indicate like what jump like indicate.
Yeah. See, okay, that was another thing I was wondering about, because it's like, obviously, like, if you look at a cross-country course, like real-life cross-country courses, like, most of the time, it's going to be something that's set up with the jumps and whatnot, and then, like, it's going to have the clearing areas where you run through, and there's usually going to be brush anywhere you're not supposed to go, because, like, the jumps are what you jump over, not the brush, right? And...
Yeah, so with
yeah, well, you use fences to, like, make sure that people know where to go, right?
Yeah, with cross country, I mean, it all kind of depends where it's happening. Typically, with cross country, it's a set path. You pretty much know the path. There might be a few instances where you have a variety of jumps to choose from. Like, you might decide to go with the wider jump because, that might be better for your horse. But getting to that wider, your approach kind of takes you further away from the optimum path, so it will add time to it, whereas you might have the narrow jump right on that optimum path. So you run the risk of refusing that jump, but you stay on that optimal timed path.
Yeah.
Which I hope that made sense.
No, it does. The other thing, though, that I'm, like, considering is it's, like... So, these ones are going to be the jump, or, like, the obstacle markers in general. But then it's, like, I have been considering, like, do I want to have, like, directional stuff in a general sense? Because it's, like, if you look at some games like Star Stable, and honestly, like, I've done a lot of research into other horse games. I've seen this in, like, everything from, like, Barbie to, like, a bunch of random, like, those, like, basic bitch horse games. It pops up a lot where there's, like, directional markers, especially for, like, trails and stuff when you run races or whatever the case may be, cross-country most of the time, But, like, the ones that are more realistic in terms of, like, how the gameplay functions, they don't usually have that. They usually have it so that you're running on, a specific path, and most of the path is going to have, like, white rope fencing and stuff. Yeah, so I'm like...
I think it all depends on how you decide to set up that race set. So are you going to do it where you have the path, like, definitely marked with rope or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, on either side. Because you're in a post-apocalyptic-esque world.
Yeah.
Or are you going to keep it more natural and therefore have the direction? I think that's what
I think if I'm being realistic about, like, the way that the actual game would be set up if this was going into a game, it would be those kinds of limited routes. So, like, if you've ever played, like, Barbie... what's it called? Horse mystery thing. I had that as a kid. If you've played more recently, Emerald Valley Ranch, a large amount of their trails and stuff, you can see out into the forest. It's a lot more subtle than the frickin' Barbie game ever was. It's like, I mean...
Barbie don't do things subtle.
No, Barbie was ancient, to be honest. It was around when I was a kid, and I'm not ancient, but, like, it's old.
You better not be ancient, because what does that mean?
Slightly ancient.
Makes me getting up in the years.
But yeah, like, no, like, it was a designated path. You could not stray from that path. Now, Emerald Valley Ranch, in its defense, does have it so that some areas have much wider paths, and it has, like, certain areas where you can, like, go off of the path and into, like, a designated section of that area, like the Crossroads Forest, I think it was called. You could, like, walk around in areas that were just, like, open sections of the forest. And it's the same thing with, like, certain fields in the game. Like, you could have open sections, but the level design itself was not pure open world like Star Stable is. or other games, obviously, but Star Stable being the number one, like, open world horse game most people know. So yeah, like, what I'm thinking is going to be more of a small, condensed game experience to start off with. Because it's like, obviously, if I ever got to the point of making something that's like on Star Staples level, I don't think I'm going to be really sweating if I'm going to be able to like make new models, at that point.
Yeah.
So it's like, I would say it's probably going to be a pretty self-contained experience. I was already considering making the ropes, because it would make sense that like you could have rolling fields in the background, but you don't have to worry about like collision and making it like functional for the player and stuff if the player can't go past the ropes, past the brush, past whatever rivers, etc., things that aren't part of the course, So yeah, I guess like technically speaking, unless I started doing more open world stuff like how Star Stable has it, I suppose it wouldn't make a lot of sense to have something that is like explicit course markers, because like it's not like when you're running through like Furgrove or Valedale and you're like literally going, where the fuck do I turn? It's like, do I go up? Do I go down? Like, you have to have those markers in Star Stable, because like not every single time are they going to fill up like spaces with like rocks and logs and sometimes even whole ass wagons. you know but also Star Stable, like, even when it doesn't have a situation where it has to have those markers, sometimes it does just because it's a kid's game too.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
yeah.
gonna be honest. I do appreciate those markers the first time around, because
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially when like you can't, like, on those longer routes where it's like there's like a sudden switchback or something weird, and it's like I've had times where even with the markers sometimes I still run off the course because my brain wasn't ready for it. And then it's like,
oh, I'm for 180.
Yeah, and it's like on the second go around I'm like good, but it's like I come around a corner and I keep going straight because like that's my first instinct, and then like I run straight past the markers because like I didn't realize they were there. It happens. I mean, even when Star Stable does tell me what direction to go, even with like the upper top bit thing, the little turnaround marker, I still get confused. Like the little green arrow, it's like, oh, turn around here. I'm like, what? Anyways, that didn't really help us decide though if we should go with the well, I guess you were more interested in like the 2-point, right?
I'm more interested in the 2-point to designate
Yeah.
the jump.
Okay.
Just because I feel like you could have a lot more fun with designs on it.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're going to use like a path marker, go with the arrow for that, because I feel like people would understand go this direction a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so then in terms of height, so like a lot of these are relatively like at the same height as the jump itself. So I suppose
you want it to be distinct enough from the jump that like, because it also, first off, it helps give a rider, and I could be wrong, but from what I know and from what I've heard, it helps give a rider an idea of how tall the jump is, because I believe the flags themselves are set at a specific height.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives them an idea of how tall that jump is. It also shows them, because a lot of times, especially with cross country, you are seeing these jumps at a distance. It gives them an idea of how wide that jump is.
Yeah. Okay, so do you think?
Again, I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, neither of us are, what are English people.
Neither of us know.
Okay, so then do you think I should make them a little bit taller than the jump, or should I make them at like roughly the same height as like the top of my standards?
Well, because again,
I could do it this way, and then it's just above the top of the standards where the flag hangs out.
Hold on. I'm actually gonna look up the regulations for these things.
That would be handy, because I've been looking up like sizing and stuff. Oh, hey, that was like basically spot on in the middle of it. Nice.
I might have to stop for a second because I'm about to do a race, but...
That's fine. I think I remember this being like... Like, I think this was basically the equivalent of what I did when I made it, was just, I just like put a line through the middle of it, and then I just,
Okay, so here's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
Jump wings are marked with red and white flags or
Yes.
red and white pins. You should jump them in one direction only.
Yes.
Always jump with the white on your left and the
Yes.
red on your right.
Yep.
Okay, I did not know that.
I knew that because I was like, oh, also it is in Star Stable actually, fun fact. I mean, not fun fact, but like like if you ever run the races in Star Stable, they're always like when you're racing in the correct direction, you're always racing with the white on the left, the red on the right. And then as I started doing research into like how this competition stuff is set up, yeah, like that's something I noticed was that the oh, that was off. I had a feeling it was off. I'm glad I fixed it. Anyways, yeah, I noticed that like these are always the same, and I was like trying to see if it was different depending on like where somebody was from. It seems to be standardized, like I think worldwide, or at least relatively so.
Because when you think about it, a lot of these people, especially when you get to like the higher levels, are competing internationally.
Yes.
And it is a bitch and a half to learn regulations.
Yeah, like I would hope it would be standardized. I would hope it would be standardized.
Especially if you're like part of an association.
It's standardized. Okay, so.
I mean, it's hard enough to learn driving in a different.
Oh my god! Yeah, no kidding.
You know, it's just trying to make, especially for a lot of these higher level competitors, especially in Europe, because it's a lot easier to compete internationally. In Europe, just because it's easier to travel.
Yeah, literally. I wish it was that easy to travel here.
Considering how often they're competing, like they don't have time to learn a whole new regulation.
No, and that wouldn't be very fair.
It's not fair. It's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Logistically.
Okay. I think this works pretty well. And then we can just like duplicate it and spin this baby right round. We do 180. 180 no scope, baby. Here we go.
Okay, I don't seem to actually see anything about there being like a height requirement, but I feel like it's just kind of they should be a certain height, but I can't see anything.
Yeah.
This seems to be more so regarding like rider etiquette when it comes to them.
Let me just do a quick Google search myself, just to make sure I didn't miss anything either.
Oh, hold on. Flags and poles on the fences.
Well.
Okay, yeah, so they should be easily breakable in case, you know, of course, fucking hits them.
Yes.
And then break in a way that won't, like, cause it to splinter.
Yeah.
Because that's the last fucking thing you need. But I'm not seeing anything regarding, like...
So...
Okay, the types of fence required to use safety flags are corners. This is specifically for cross-country.
Yeah.
Fences of less than 3 meters jumpable width. And related fences, which because of their design offer a jumpable pass less than 3 meters width, and fences designed to be jumped on an angle where knocking a flag is a possibility. So yes. I think the whole point of the flag is to mark the jump and how you're supposed to jump it, but it's also if you're jumping it on an angle, it shows that like if you knock the flag, your horse is off. And that could result in added time. Yeah, so it is like part of judging the obstacle itself. Yeah. And so how well you're navigating it.
So what I found is these polls I just posted in Discord for you is basically 77 inches tall, but they can be cut down.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because chances are if a horse is jumping and it's within range of the jump, but if it's jumping like a smaller jump and it's still within range, it could still hit that pole because it's too fucking tall.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Now what I'm curious about, and this is probably not something you're ever going to go into, but because it specifically specifies like something like carbon fiber or something that can't easily be like broken or shattered, what are you going to make these poles out of? Because I feel like wood is not a good idea.
Um,
Or are you even gonna go into that? I don't know. I'm just like, it's how my brain is wired that it's like this is a really cool detail. How are you gonna work that into your world building? Or is this even like
probably just PVC piping, honestly. It'd probably just be a white
okay?
pipe, like, I think, because,
Okay.
like,
I didn't know if you were gonna have like do a little side quest where you have to collect stuff to make the jump
no,
flag
I think,
and
like, most of the place that I'm considering what kind of materials I'm using in certain things, unless it's explicitly something to do with, like, how a like say like it's a situation of like you get I'm not saying I'm going to get to this point, but like say that you had to do like the farm repairs because like there's a lot of horse games out there that have like, oh, here you get this rundown farm, literally looking at Emerald Valley Ranch, and like you just could do the repairs yourself, yay, and stuff. I don't know if I'm going to actually do that. I mean, that's also a lot to do in the first place, but like that kind of stuff, that would be where I would consider what kind of materials. The only place I've been considering it so far, because a lot of my stuff has just been like considering very basic things, like for example these jumps. The jumps, I'm not specifically looking at materials because I just assume it's going to be stuff like plastic, wood, metal, etc. Most of it probably plastic, with like things like the jump standards being made out of wood. um, and that's going to be something that probably will be more visible in regards to the texturing. But yeah, like
okay.
material wise, again, more of a texture related thing, but I have actually considered textures, or not textures, I have considered what kind of materials would go into some of my tack ideas, which aren't like, most of the tack ideas are not unique. Like, it's just like, I'm gonna do these English saddles, I'm gonna do these Western saddles, and then I actually am doing endurance saddles. I don't know if I'll do Iberian saddles because I think it'd be cool, but like that would fall under more historic stuff. And I'm not doing decorative things right away. Like, as much fun as it could
Yeah,
be.
I feel like that is definitely something you could do further down the line.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't mind having, like, if I was, like, modeling, like, horse tack on, like, a weekly basis or something for funsies and stream, I wouldn't mind doing, like, oh, hey, guys, it's close to Halloween. Let's do, like, some fun baton style tack and stuff, you know? Like, something like that could be, like, a fun one-off just for shits and giggles, because, like, that's what I'm doing this whole project for, is shits and giggles. Obviously, I take it very seriously, but, like, I'm not trying to maintain any sort of like project timeline. I'm just doing this stuff because I want to get back into what I love. Okay, I can delete these because I don't need this stuff anymore. All right, so we have our flags. Yeah, I think like if I want to say if I like textured these, unless I have something where I'd want to texture them based on a certain area, it would probably be like white poles and then red and white flags. The flags are probably plastic because I certainly don't want to do um I don't want to do physics on them, other than just like it falling down as like a singular object, obviously. Uh, and then probably
You're
the
not gonna have
poles.
them whistle in the breeze.
No, no, no. And then the poles would be like, your basic PVC piping, probably. Um, okay, we got cone small. We got the cone big. And I can cross all this stuff off on my list. I have a list now, so I can keep myself organized. Okay, there we go. Actually, I can scoot these up to be like in line with this one too. So now we got all that and a bag of chips that I want to munch on right now, but I can't because it'll be loud. Okay, so basically the way I got these split up is we have different types of whatchamacallit, like disciplines. So I just caught up to the stuff that I marked as general. So we have Cavaletti, obstacle flags, cone short, and cone tall. With obviously the cones being very optional. I don't need to model the cones. I just wanted to do that because it was fun. Um, and then our next ones are show jumping specifically, with that breaking down into the difference between jump parts versus actual jump setups. So we now have all those set up. I had just a note for myself that I wanted to make the Crossrail and Oxer jump still, so we completed those. The next step is cross country, which is I have a list. I just need to decide which ones I want to base them off of, because basically cross country, the only thing that's not a jump itself is a rope fence. I could maybe do that. We'll see. Do that right now. I did mark that as an optional one. As for like the actual stuff I do want to do, some sort of log jump. There's a lot of log jumps, so I might make multiple of those, because there's so many different variations, and like you can do things at different levels. And unfortunately, unlike show jumping stuff, you can't usually just change where the logs are on the jump. So if I want to have variable levels of difficulty with a cross-country course, it's gonna have to be custom jumps per difficulty level. So that's gonna make things a lot more difficult for me. But yes, just general log-based jumps is one of them. We have a round/roll top jump, which I was considering doing for a show jumping jump, but I'm just gonna leave it off for now. It's something I might come back to later. I basically have like a list of stuff that I'm like, you know what, I could have done this, or I need to look into this more. So it's on that list now. So I stopped worrying about it, because I'll be like, no, if I take it off, I'm going to forget about it. And then I remembered I had that list. I'm like, you dumbass, just put it on the other list. So anyways, so yes, we have a roll top, we have a corner jump. Corner jumps are pretty standard. I see those a lot. And then of course, like the corner jump is, you change up how difficult it is based on how narrow the jump space is and how wide the corner is. So that one isn't that hard to do. And then we have the chevron/arrowhead, and then going on to ones that are more optional that I may or may not do. We have the tiger trap, the table, the bench, the barn box, because I didn't know what else to call it. The barn box is kind of like a weird, like, it's like a short table in a sense. And then the keyhole jump, which I'm probably not gonna do the keyhole right away. I don't know about that one. I like the idea of it. It's really cool. I've seen some really neat keyhole jumps, but it's a lot. that's gonna be a bit difficult to model. Okay, so now this is where I'm kind of like debating, do I want to try doing anything related to cross country, or do I want to just skip ahead and do like dressage or the Western stuff? Because Western stuff and dressage, those two are going to be easy. I'm probably not going to do any of the racing ones, because the racing ones, while there's only a few of them, like, I'm not building a whole ass race gate. Straight up, no. Like, I just put that on there so I have it. And also, like, realistically speaking, anytime I talk about racing content for any of my stuff, like me talking about making it and stuff, it is not at all a remote priority, because for me personally, like, if I made racing content, I'm never going to compete with, like, rival stars. Just straight up.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't want to compete with rival stars, at least not right now. So, yeah, it's just, like, I put the racing stuff down as a reference because I, like, dream goal would be to have racing content as an option. Realistically, I don't think I'm ever going to touch it. So it's like, it's there, but it ain't going anywhere, you know? Anyways. So, dressage stuff, we have the fencing, obviously, given. It would just be basic fencing, nothing decorative. Any kind of decorative dressage fencing would be something that could come in later. And then just basic letters, and then fancy letters. The difference being the basic letters are just triangular. Alternatively, I could just use these for the dressage letters, the one I just made already, and just size it up. But I did kind of, like, I don't know, part of me was like, you know, it'd be kind of cool to do, like, the triangular ones. I like that. So, we'll see. I could also potentially build it off of the ones I just made anyways. And then fancy letters, I was thinking about making it, like, off of the jump pillar model I have that I made for that giant water jump. And then basically it would just be like a really fancy, like, square flower pot. So you could see, like, the small triangular ones on, like, low-level dressage competitions, and then, like, the fancy flower pot jump letters would be on, like, the higher-end stuff. And then for Western, we have the metal barrel, the wooden barrel, the bending pole with its base, and then possibly a hurry-scurry jump. I don't know if I want to do that. Sarah, have you heard of hurry-scurry?
No.
Yeah, I hadn't really heard of it much myself. Fun fact, I believe the first time I ever actually, like, remember hearing about it, because I could have heard about it beforehand, the first time I remember hearing about it was from Silver Buckle Stables game, because there's a hurry-scurry section in that game, which is basically going over very small jumps as quickly as possible. So you, like, run forward and then run back over, like, a series of jumps. The second time I heard about it that I do remember is actually at a local horse show, like a really small county horse show. County fair one specifically. And they did hurry scurries there. And I was like, oh, hey, I know about that now. So I don't know if I would do that. Because, like, the problem is I don't really know how I want to handle Western competitions outside of, like, barrel racing and pole bending. Because, like, I don't know how realistic it would be to program reining, for example. I don't think I want to do halter judging stuff. Like, that's just, no. It's just Please difficult. Don't. It's difficult to, like, gamify that, you know? Yeah. You know, the other things aside, I don't know how the hell I would actually code that. Or anybody else would.
Yeah, because halter is, like...
It's based on conformation and behavior.
Yeah, I think for the type of game you're going for,
it's not, like, you would have to develop such an insane system for that to work. You'd have to be like Horse Isle 3, but good.
Yeah. Just throwing shade at every horse game that came before.
Yeah.
Casually.
Okay, to be honest, Horse Isle 3 is, like, insane, though. Like...
I wouldn't know because I never played it, but I'll take your word.
Icy plays it, and I'm just like, Godspeed, man. Godspeed. Like, the main reason why it's insane, besides, like, the homophobia and the fact that they used, like, very inappropriate language and allowed that, but were banning homophobia, is, like, the game graphics, like, I don't feel bad saying this, they're fugly. Like, it is just downright fucking ugly. And, they are, like... They are so focused on, like, making it so that, like, the horses are built based off of, like, code instead of actual art. It's ridiculous. Like, there's literally people who play that game to make dinosaurs out of horses. It's really hilarious.
I'm sorry, what?
Like, you have serious horse players, you know, and it's like, I mean, I don't look down on anybody who plays it. Like, obviously Icy plays it, and, like, that's who I've been mostly talking to about it and learning about it from. And it's like, you know, like I said, Godspeed to anybody who tries. Because it's ridiculous. Well, it's just like, okay, if there's anything that you want to look into regarding Horse Isle 3, I recommend looking into the main quests articles on it, because that was where I got a majority of stuff outside of what Icy's directly told me about playing it. And it's just, yeah, it's nuts. Obviously she covers, like, a major amount of the controversy around it, but she does also talk about, like, what the developers have said and how they're, like, so hell-bent on just doing things for, like, their existing players that they will not bother to make the beginning of the game palatable to anybody who's never played Horse Isle games. Like,
oh, awesome.
They are literally shooting themselves in the foot and then digging their own grave at the same time. Like,
I love saying that.
It's ridiculous. Anyways, yeah, so then the last few things are just racing objects like the racing gate, race fences, distance markers. I'm not going to build any of those. They're just on this list. They're just on this list for me to keep track of them, as, like, a maybe long-term goal if I ever actually did want to do the racing stuff. And then the last couple things are just ideas for decorations, so, like, flower pots and stuff like that. So... yeah, I think maybe the, like... well, okay, like, the fancy letters would be easy. I don't know if I want to do, I don't know if I want to do anything with, like, trying to model flowers and stuff, because, like I've said, I'm not very good with organics yet. It is something I do want to tackle, and I think doing these streams would make it easier for me to tackle. But it isn't something that I'm super hell-bent on trying to manage right now. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Like, I want to pull this in a little bit, but not like... Why does this feel... Hold on, go back, go back, go back. What did I do to you? Why do you feel off? Because it's like, I did this, but then it's like, it feels like it's not centered. Still feels like it's not. Nope. Like, I want it to feel like it's a square. Where the heck is... I need this. I choose you, Pikachu. Okay, let's use this as like a reference for what is hopefully a square. So like... If I bump this down here... And... I'm trying to figure out... Like, it doesn't need to be a perfect square, I just want it to be more square. There we go. Is that square? Okay, I think my top part is a problem. Like, my top is weirdly wider? I think that's what's throwing me off. I don't know what I did to this thing. What did I do to it?
You broke it.
I did. I mean, there is one way to fix it. I just don't know if I want to bother. Okay. Well, I guess I'll bother because, like, I don't know how else to fix this. Like... Yeah, somehow this thing is like super off and I don't know how. Okay, let's try this and then I'll tug this back so maybe this will now be like a proper close enough square. Oh, I think I just flipped it upside down. Oopsie. I do not want that. There we go. Oh, nope, that's not the way I need that to scale. There we go. Scoot everybody in. Okay, now I think that's a proper square one. So we pull you in. merge all of that, and then we can get rid of these edges, hopefully. Maybe.
Probably.
Feel like somebody didn't merge the way I was expecting them to. Why is this one... What? What? Hello? Why are you... Okay, something is off here. So why is this behaving like this? Nope, it's still acting like... Is it just not... Is there like two vertexes here? No, it's still doing it. Why are you doing that? What the hell is going on there?
So what's going on?
Okay, so like basically this vertex isn't going away, but apparently... Did I have... Oh god, is this on all of them? I think I had
So
like...
Is it acting as two separate pieces instead of one?
Kind of. Kind of. Okay, so I'm not seeing it. I don't think it's happening there. But it's probably happening over here if this is getting the same issue. So if I remove this face... And then... No, it's not doing it. It's not doing it here? Kind of. It's not supposed to do this.
Okay.
This is not what it's supposed to do. It's... What the hell? Yeah, it's not supposed to be doing that. Okay, so that one worked the way I expected it to. But... I don't know why it's behaving like this. I'm just gonna try and work around it, hopefully. Yeah, I don't know why it's acting like there was like an extra... It was basically acting like there was like an extra polygon there that wasn't supposed to exist, and that didn't make any sense. I don't know why it was doing it like that. Okay, so yes, I think this is behaving normally now on this side, so now I just need to fix it on the opposite side. So basically, like, it's acting like there has to be a vertex right here, but like when I move this up and down, it's supposed to look like this, but now it's like suddenly for some reason it's like connecting weirdly, like as if there's not an actual edge here, but it's still trying to connect something. I don't understand at all why it's behaving like this. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, because see, now there's like this empty... There's like this empty edge here. Like, this isn't supposed to exist! It's not supposed to exist. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, so we're gonna just do the same treatment over here to fix it. Merge these to center, remove this edge, and then combine these two again, and then that should make a solid thing. And then if I grab this edge, it should be moving normally. It is. So we're good. And then hopefully it didn't do it over here. Oh my god, it did do it over here. What is wrong with you? It had to have been something I did. I must have, like, forgotten, like, like, maybe I forgot that I, like, extruded an edge or something. That's the only thing I can think of that's doing this. Because otherwise it doesn't make sense. Because, like, you move it down, but there's nothing there. I mean, it still doesn't make much sense to me, but whatever, I guess. I still don't understand why it's doing this. But this looks like an extruded edge. It just looks like it doesn't have any... Like, it didn't go anywhere, basically.
Okay.
Because normally when I extrude an edge and I'm like, oh, no, wait, I didn't want to do it that way. I undo it all the way back to the point where... Like, right now I'm extruding edges. Like, this is me extruding right now. Like, when I do this and I'm like, nope, I'm not happy with that. I'm gonna, like, go backwards. I go all the way back and make sure that, like, the edge itself is undid completely, because what will happen is when you extrude it, it's going to stay in the exact same spot that the original edge was in, which is no good, because you're gonna... What the fuck? You're gonna get... Okay. There we go. You're just gonna have basically an edge that has no, like... It's in the same spot as the old edge, but now you've created, like, a polygon off of it.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Kinda, but not really.
Yeah, so, like,
And
basically...
It's not how you explain it, it's just I don't understand this stuff.
That's fair. Yeah, basically when I do these extruding, I'm just taking this edge and I'm saying, hey, I want you to pull this edge forward and make a new plane. Because it's basically, like... It's like using math to go, oh, you have a point here in space, you have a point here in space, and you have a point here and or here in space. And so what it does is it formulates edges between those points, up like between like 3 to 4 points. Because if you have 3, it's tris. If it's 4, it's quads. If you have over that, yes, it's still a polygon, but it's a bad one. At least in terms of 3D. You're not supposed to have over 4 sides, and you're not technically supposed to have 3, but you get 3 when you're triangulating shit, which is why quads are perfect. So you're going with mathematics, and it's like saying, okay, so between all of these points, we're going to draw lines, and that becomes your edges, right? And then when you pull off of an edge, it basically generates new points off of that edge. So, you know, obviously an edge being a line is the line between 2 points. So it basically generates 2 new points as you pull that edge away. But if you don't pull it away, you basically just made an edge with 2 points on top of another edge, and it doesn't make any sense. Because, like, you can't see shit with it, you know, but it still exists technically. It's like if you drew over the same spot, why would you do that? That doesn't make sense. Oops. That wasn't what I meant to grab. I do have to be careful because sometimes when I'm leaving these vertexes behind, it's because of the fact that I'm not deleting them the correct way, TM. And I'm accidentally leaving them in like an idiot. And that's what I thought it was, and then it wasn't responding the way I thought it would, so rip me, I guess. Oh. Okay. Alright, I think I fixed the issue, which now makes me kind of want to go back and, like, fix every single pillar I've made, because I have a feeling they're all broken. I'm just gonna put this baby over here, and we'll worry about it later. That also means I need to delete my history, so I can get rid of all of these without it freaking the hell out on me. There we go. Okay, so what I was going to do was I wanted to make planters, basically. I was thinking about expanding this out a little bit, maybe. Not too far, because this is kind of starting to look a little ridiculous. How is this thing somehow, like, when I expand this thing, why is it doing it? in such a way that, like, it's not staying even, I swear. No. I don't know. I'm so confused because it feels like when I look at it from the bottom here that some stuff is still... Yeah, no, it still feels off. Well, it's probably because of the way I... Oh, it's probably because of the way I did this with, like, editing the edges, I'm sure. And this has always been off because I'm not paying attention. Well, now this... Oh, it still feels weird, though. Like, it doesn't feel... it doesn't feel like it's, equal. For some reason. Wait. Oh shit, what did I do? Thank goodness for reset tool. It's like I will hit something on accident. I'm like, oh god, what did I do now? So Sarah, do you have any other obstacles you'd want to see?
For what?
Just horse stuff in general. Like, what kind of stuff would you want that I haven't mentioned, if any? Or if I have mentioned it, is there any variations on the stuff I've mentioned that you'd want to see?
I mean, honestly, it really just comes down to the extra designs on it. Like,
yeah, the texturing.
You'll have, yeah, the texturing, stuff like that. I will say, and again, this is really controversial. As horrible as I think those jumps can be, the ones where they're like, they have to jump over a gap, I think would be interesting, but again, I understand that that's like a controversial thing.
Like ditch jumps?
Yeah.
I mean, like, it kind of depends on how wide the jump is. I mean, yeah, a horse could still stumble into it and break a leg, but yeah. Usually that stuff is designed to try and make it as safe as possible.
Oh yeah, sure, because like they're not trying to kill the horse.
Yeah.
Right?
The big ditch jumps and like the big bank jumps where you jump down, those though, yeah, can be like holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I got this fixed.
Okay.
I'm kind of like I think I might go and replace stuff with this really quick.
I would definitely love to see water jumps.
Yes. Oh, not my lame-o water jumps. That's just a little dinky kiddie pool. I mean, like, if you... Yeah, if you pull it down into the ground and you texture it right, though, you probably could make it look like a real water jump.
Oh, probably.
Probably.
Yeah, those are cool. I think you've got pretty well, like, is that going to be, like, that's a wall jump?
This is a wall jump, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to fix it.
Yeah, honestly, I think it all just comes down to, like, the textures of them. And, I mean, obviously with the cross country, you're going to have so much more variety.
Yeah.
With what you can do with those.
Yeah, that's why I'm like with the cross country. Yeah. Like with the cross country, I want to pick out stuff that is not just like fun to jump over, but also is still realistic for me to model.
Yes. But I feel like with show jumping, it's the complexity of the actual route,
Yeah.
as well as the distance between the jumps.
Yes.
But they're
Yes.
not like the different heights, all just a variation of the same jump, same basic jumps.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like a lot of cross country stuff. It is like obviously there's the stuff where it's like how you approach the jump, how the jump is staged. Like, are you going through water? Are you going up or down a hill, etc. So like there is very specific terrain based parts of the jump, which is like I don't know how to make terrain yet, so that's not something I can really tackle, unfortunately. Um, but it is something I want to eventually tackle. Uh, and then there's obviously, of course, the jumps themselves in the sense of it's like, okay, so then are you gonna do like wide jumps, like, or like are you able to handle wide jumps rather in the sense of like a table jump, for example? Can your horse handle stuff that's like a tiger jump where it's got like the holes on the inside of it, so it's like it could be something that's very shocking to your horse, you know?
Yeah, because God knows the slightest deviation
Yeah.
will send horse into fucking cardiac
Because
arrest.
it's like I don't know, like it's not something I would ever program into like an initial game. Like if I ever made like a cross country game for realsies, like it would just be a very basic like here you have a functioning horse. You may not even be able to get off the horse. Um but like you'd be able to be on the horse, you'd be able to run the horse through different speeds, so you'd be able to like do walk, trot, canter, gallop, etc., you know. If I don't think I'd do a gated horse for a cross country game. Um but yeah, like you would have the horse and then you would be able to run through it and then jump over things and then there'd probably be I don't want to do a striding system, period. Like I think that's just excessive. Good for anybody who wants to do that, but that's not something I want to do personally. Um,
I think it's also because, like, to be fair, most people who are playing this game probably don't ride in,
Real life,
this is
yeah.
that in real life. I don't know strides for shit.
No, I don't either, and I was Western. I didn't have a reason to, you know.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting what I was trying to say though. But yeah, you go through the course, you jump over the jumps. I was gonna finish off with just something about like the initial gameplay idea would just be something very basic, like that, in that sense of like you can run through the course, you can see things, you can interact with the course by how you move through it, but that's about it. Like there's not like you could probably knock poles and stuff if there's poles to
Yeah.
knock. Um,
Yeah. It's very
yeah.
basic, and it's more so to do with the horse and the actual figure.
Now, if I was able to have something more advanced, especially if I had like a bigger game where cross country was a small portion of it and the game had like more mechanics to it, something I would love to do is be able to integrate like horse personalities and spooking and stuff. And then that's where like things like obedience and trust could come into play. And it's like how obedient and how much the horse specifically trusts you as its rider can factor into um, how well it's going to behave when it comes to things that are potential spook factors. And then on top of that, the horse's personality. So if you have a horse that spooks easily, maybe you need to train them out of that personality, or maybe you don't mind that personality because, you want a challenge. Or maybe you have a horse that's braver and therefore doesn't spook as easily, so you don't have to worry about that as much. Um, but yeah, like those kinds of elements would be cool. So it's like, you're coming up to a tiger trap or you're coming up to something that just looks intimidating in general to the horse. And they're like, oh God, what the hell is this thing? And a horse
Like the
that,
water jump.
yeah, or a water jump, yeah. Like the horse, if it trusts you and if it has good obedience, it will probably go over the jump despite being scared of it. Um, but if it's a horse that like does not trust you, has low obedience, there is a much higher chance that that animal is going to refuse it. Like you're going to get your horse suddenly stopping because it does have a mind of its own. It's an animal. It wouldn't be a motorcycle in that case.
Mm-hmm. Question: would you ever make it to where if like there's a bucket on the ground, the horse loses its shit?
uh I think it would have to depend on like what kinds of factors would contribute to spooking.
Right.
So it's like like you could have it so that like if there was a cat wandering around, like a cat would be an automatic trigger for a horse to spook.
Okay.
But like
No, just because I know that like through my
Maybe
experience with horses.
maybe certain colors of buckets that horses like. That's another thing is like I don't know if I want horses to be partially colorblind because obviously most animals are. But if it's like set in my personal stuff, like there's not really any reason for horses to be colorblind because you could just fix that if you knew how to fix it, you know.
Yeah.
Not to say it would be an easy fix. It would actually be very dangerous to try and implement something like that because you'd have to have such an in-depth understanding of how the eye works, but it's not technically impossible. Because like the way the magic system works with Gaia is specifically you need to have a insanely deep understanding of not just how life energy functions, but if you want to make those kinds of changes, you need to know enough about how those changes would occur. So somebody who knows like neuroscience could maybe fix like issues in the brain, but if you just had Joe Schmo try to come in and fix somebody's like brain tumor, he's probably going to kill them.
I mean, okay. Have you ever seen like the goggles they'll put on horses?
Yes, they're really funny.
Have you? Has someone ever thought about doing that, or for like colorblind glasses?
Oh my god.
Can you imagine someone making color correcting goggles?
That would be so expensive. Holy fucking
I think
hell.
you actually have to test the color blindness of the individual to get like the proper prescription.
Yeah.
Can you imagine someone
Oh
doing that?
my god.
Just,
I really want my horse to see in color, okay? God. Oh my god.
but no, just I didn't seriously mean the whole bucket thing. I just love the joke, but like I just love how horses are so stupid.
Yeah. No, I mean like
I mean that
genuinely
affectionately.
it would be kind of
See a
funny.
bucket in a place where there wasn't a bucket 2 seconds
Yeah.
ago, and some horses will just lose their goddamn mind.
Well, it would be kind of funny though if like some horse. Okay, I don't think a bucket would be a good idea, obviously, because buckets would be something that you'd like use on a daily basis. But like I think it would be so funny to have a horse freak out from just seeing like a coil of rope on the ground. It's like they think it's like a fucking. They think it's a snake. They think it's a snake. You know.
It's like, no, you idiot.
Yeah.
It's the thing I have on you right now. It's just on the ground.
Yeah.
I need to find the fucking video.
Oh my god.
I think it's on TikTok. No, this isn't about a horse. This is about a kid. So these
Yeah.
kids are playing on a trampoline. Dad's showing. It's all really cute. And this kid hustling his hand, jumping around with it. Do you know what?
Yeah.
And the dad at first thinks like, oh, it's just a rubber toy.
Oh
Somehow
no.
this kid grabbed an actual fucking snake and was jumping around with it.
Oh no.
He's just a young kid too. Like, I don't think it was poisonous.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck did this kid grab a snake?
Oh my god. Like probably a garter snake.
It was probably a garter snake. I think it was a garter snake based on the color.
Is it garter or garden?
Garter. It's
It is garter. Okay.
but it also based on the fact the kid wasn't dead.
Yeah.
Or, you know, just withering on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, the moment the dad keys in that is an actual snake is fantastic.
It's like, what do you got in your hand there? A knife! No! A snake! No! God. Okay, I'm replacing all these wall jumps now that I realize the error of my ways. Oh my god, did you find it?
I found it. He's just dragging this poor thing around. And then dad's like, is that a snake? And the kid's like, yeah. Like, the moment dad realized
Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's not a long one, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I mean, he's oh god, I didn't realize he pointed at his sibling.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, he's got a good hold on it. He's got it right behind its head. Kudos to him.
That poor snake is probably terrified.
Oh yeah, the poor...
God.
The amount of videos, I think that one, yeah, that's
Oh my goodness.
Little kid picks up a snake thinking it's a stick. Oh, he threw it for the
Oh
door.
my god.
Kids these days, I swear to God.
Literally. Okay, so is this sticking out again? Is this sticking out again that's like so stupidly over? Or am I just imagining shit?
I don't know.
No, I think it's fine, right? I'm just seeing things, maybe. I hope.
You might be.
I hope. Hold on. Wait, what if I... Oh my god. Oh my god! No way!
Again, he's got a good handle on it.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I don't think it's poisonous.
Probably not. I hope
Kid
not.
would've dropped.
Yeah. God. Wait, you know what? I know an easier way to double check this. Let's do like a 180. See if these two align close enough. Yeah, I think I'm just imagining it. It's fine. Okay. So, I think we got our planter box. So this one will be called, dressage planter. No, actually, I do lowercase. Dressage marker planter one. There we go. Okay, and then do I want to do a triangle or do I just want to make it the same as the English jumping thingamajigger? Dressage, letters. So like I was thinking about doing something like that. Oh, well, actually that works. I meant to send that in the server, but that's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna send the rest of them in the server. So like these were the examples I was looking at in regards to like dressage planters, or not planters, but you know, the markers. And then like these two were like the big fancy markers, you know? But they also have like these ones. So I was thinking about making them triangular because I was like, oh, well, if I do triangles, it'll look different from the jump markers. But on the other hand, I could quite literally just grab this little guy, like drag this up a little ways, and then just like basically spread out the bottom, and there you go. You have a dressage marker, you know? So it's like, do I want to put myself through the effort? Because it's like, it is basically the same general shape. It's just bigger, you know, because it's for dressage.
Right.
I mean, like,
that makes sense.
I feel like it still works for dressage if I do it this way, to be honest. But like this, with like, if I put like a plant on top of it, would feel much fancier, right?
Yeah.
Because like this would work as like a general dressage marker. And if I wanted to, I could make it bigger too. Like, I could make it like much bigger like this too. But I think that's big enough.
Yeah, you don't want to make it too big because it's just obnoxious.
Yeah. Honestly, probably should just go... I should just go with the four-cornered one because, like... it probably would make more sense. Because it's like... you know, four corners, first of all, are very stable in a practical sense, but in a real-life practical sense, it makes it so I have two of the same models, and I can just basically, like... I'd have to adjust the textures. I don't think I could put identical textures on them because it's not just sized up. I did adjust, like, the overall shape of it. Is this still an actual square? Did I... flip you upside down? Oh, of course the 180 isn't there. This is what I talk about with, like, my stuff getting messed up, I swear. Okay, so, like, what if I turn you, like, 90 degrees like this? No, it did get messed up. Why are you messed up? I do not know how the hell I keep messing these things up. Because this isn't an actual square now, apparently. Like, I'd have to adjust it. Anyway, did I just literally do... Hold on a second, I need to do it like this instead. There we go, there we go. Because I don't want to look at it from the side, I wanted to make sure the front was equal. So let's just spread this one out, I guess, a little bit. That'll probably be fine. There we go. Yeah, those could work as jump markers. Or not jump markers, but dressage markers.
Yeah, I would say so. I'm not sure about the standard size for them.
Mm-hmm. Yo, me neither. I'm just gonna call it basic, and then I'm gonna call the other one planter, I guess, because that makes sense. Okay, so that means that we have all of the jump stuff done, and, well, like show jumping stuff, obviously not cross country, because I might do that next time. Okay. And then we have the 2 letters. There's still dressage fencing, which arguably is pretty simple, because it's really mostly just like rectangles just spread out, you know? Mm-hmm. The problem with doing dressage fencing, though, is I may want to set that one up as a like actual dressage arena, so it's actually like size to one. So I think I'll do that on a separate stream. And then we still have the Western stuff to make, and like I said, I'm not doing the racing, like flat racing or any other racing. Because, like, I don't know if I'd want to do steeplechase anyways, but, like, if I was able to put everything I wanted in, it would be cool to do both flat racing and harness racing, since I have breeds for both. With one being, you know, a thoroughbred-based breed, and the other one being, what's one of the famous, like, harness horses, like Hackney horse or something?
Hackneys are pretty well known for that, yeah.
Were standardbreds one of them too?
Again, it's one of those things where there's like
there's a bunch, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there was like ones that were based off of like the high stepping, trotting harness horses. So there's 2 different race breeds I have explicitly like flat racing, with one being like normal horse racing and the other one being harness racing. And then some other breeds are like endurance based. So yeah, next time we might do the dressage stuff, we may do the Western stuff, or we may do the cross country stuff, but I think that's a good spot to end it. So pull up my little thank you window thing. So yeah, thank you, Sarah, for joining me.
Absolutely.
I'm totally bitching about horses.
Hey, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, no, it's my favorite pastime.
It's great.
It is. It is. It is nice to talk about like the Western stuff in Star Stable, though, admittedly, because it's like not a lot of people really discuss it. Which is why I was like really interested in that video. And it's like I said with like that whole thing, everything that like she states is obviously a valid opinion. Like, you know, if she doesn't like the new saddles, that's, you know, up to her. I personally am just happy to have an updated Western model. I'm not that nitpicky myself, like surprisingly, because I can get very nitpicky about a lot of things. But yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with it. But also, like, I guess there's a big difference between somebody who's coming from like a highly realistic perspective versus somebody like me who's like, I don't really mind if it's more stylized and it doesn't really look like how it would in real life because I also understand what it's like to build that stuff too, you know? So it's still cool to hear other people's perspectives and discuss them though. So and obviously you guys saw me like work on my own stuff too. So like I'm not like super amazing bestest person ever at like modeling any of this stuff, but it's just something I want to do as a hobby for fun, and I hope eventually I'll be able to put these in my own games someday. Again, because my previous one was just like a very, very tiny prototype where I was testing out my models. So I'm hoping I can do that sometime this year and share that with you guys. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Anyways, yeah, thanks again, Sarah.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Hopefully, I should be able to chat a bit more again too.
yeah, and then I'm gonna play Tinykin on Sunday, and then hopefully we'll continue modeling again next Thursday, unless something comes
Nice.
up. So, um, yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.